Listen on the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and the Game TV radio on YouTube.
Good morning, early game crew. Man, we have a lot to talk about today, including a football game that was actually played last night.
A football game in which we found out a key piece of, not found out, we confirmed a key piece of information.
We confirmed an early game theory.
Yes.
In a Hall of Fame game. I am so excited to take our analysis of that game way too seriously. That's going to be in the second hour of the show. It's called tease right there. But the Panthers did win. If you woke up and you're like, I've no idea what happened last night, it was actually a really fun game. People talk every year about how like the Hall of Fame game is always really boring because it usually is. Not last night. There were points. There was drama. And there was a superhero in that game too. We'll get into all that a little bit later because the most important stuff here this morning is Shane Beamer talking, players talking, assistant coaches talking at South Carolina's Media Day yesterday over at the football facility. Oh, hi, I'm Elijah Campbell, by the way. He's Preston Thorne. She's Jen Jensen. We're just really excited for football. But there's a lot that they got into yesterday. We got about a 30-minute press conference. Player availabilities. Excited to get to some of the welcome to college football stories that I want to make it an annual tradition.
Yes.
Because there were some doozies.
Nice. I can't wait to hear them.
There were some doozies. And there was a lot of good stuff from the assistant coaches, too. We'll hear from Stan Drayton a little in this hour, too, about is the bell cow back dead? Is running back by committee the way to go for this team? But one thing I want to start the show off with is what makes Shane Beamer think this team is better than they were 250 days ago? Because during his opening statement, you know, he's rolling through a lot of stuff. He's thanking a lot of people for the work they put in the offseason, not just players, but, you know, the folks that are working over at Willie B for those stadium enhancements, you know, the folks around the building, the equipment people during, the Nike crossover. And then he starts talking about the team a little bit, and he says something along the lines of, I know this team is better than they were 250 days ago when we walked off the field against Clemson to end the season. And I got really curious as to what makes Shane Beamer think that. So I raised my hand. I got the microphone. And this will be cut 5, Jen. This is Shane's response to when I asked what makes him feel that way, that his team is better now than it was 250 days ago, especially considering the returning players and what makes him think they're better this year. Here's his response.
I think just their conviction since they came back in January. As y'all have heard me say before, Elijah, I mean, there's a lot of guys that easily could be somewhere else right now, that were on that team in 2025 that easily could have gone somewhere else, whether it be another college or the NFL. And they all chose to come back. And I love this quote. I've said it with you guys before, but your investment level equals your expectation level. And we have a group of guys that went through some really, really hard stuff in 2025. We're better because of what we went through. We've grown because of what we went through. And because of their investment level, the years they've been in this program, what we went through this past season, there's a high expectation level too. I mean, those guys, yes, they love Columbia and they love being a part of this program, but that ain't the only reason they came back. They came back because I believe they know we can have a really good football team, and that's what I've seen since January is just the work that they've put in, the experience that we have. You know, you look at, I know y'all love depth charts, but if you look at our depth chart last season, there were 4 seniors that started for us. I mean, Nick Barrett, my mind's going blank. Nick Barrett, DQ Smith, and Brian Thomas on defense, and I guess just Rasul at running back. 4 seniors. And then if you look at what, we don't have depth charts, we're competing, but if you look at what there's a likelihood of it potentially being, you're looking at triple that this year, the number of seniors that are starting for us. And when you got that kind of experience and that many guys that have played a lot of football, that gives you, a lot of hope for what's to come. Now, there's a lot of work to do, and we're a long ways away from where we need to be.
So the big thing, the conviction and the experience. I think that's one thing that was pretty insightful, too. And that's something I just didn't think about last year. And you don't think about it as much in today's college football. But the amount of seniors you have, we talk most about experience in terms of returning production. But in terms of seniors, guys who have played at least 4 years, 3 years of college football, 3 full seasons, sometimes 4. Only having 4 of those last year is something I just didn't think about. And the fact that you could potentially triple that this year. Now, you say he's not going to have depth charts, but it'd be cooler if you did.
Then, yes, I do love depth charts, Shane. I do.
Yes, absolutely. We're sickos for a good depth chart. But looking at through that scope, maybe that cuts out some of the silly stuff that you saw last year, some of the simple mistakes, especially on the offensive line. How much does that encourage you, though, Preston Thorne? Does that make you feel better about this football team than you did 250 days ago, now 251, since Clemson beat South Carolina at Willie B?
Yeah, I mean, depth experience is something that you can always rely on when things get tough throughout the game, which we know they will happen throughout a season. These guys are seasoned veterans. They've seen a lot, as he said, from last year. So that is something that they can all go and fall back on. And also the idea, he said, of them choosing to be there is another part that I do think is important as you roll into the season. Coach Holtz always used to tell the story about the sinking boat. Either some folks are going to help us row to get to shore, or some folks are going to be putting their life jackets on. That's the investment. The people that are invested are going to be rowing. The people that aren't invested are putting their life jackets on.
Clock it out.
Yeah, you don't want that in a group of players, especially when they are, they don't see the reason why they're there. So yes, that makes total sense. And more importantly than them just being old, the players that are older are better. So they've upgraded at those positions also, because you can just be old and that's cool. But if you're older, and also more talented, that's a very positive combination.
And when it comes to that development, too, there's some programs where you just, no matter how old the player is or experienced the player is, you're not trusting them to get better. I think about Iowa and the quarterback position. Dog, when was the last time Iowa had a quarterback where you're like, oh, that guy's pretty good, or that guy got better? Ricky Stanzi, that's like a decade plus ago. Drew Tate, that's 2 decades ago. Brad Banks, now we're just guys naming dudes, but like those are the only 3 quarterbacks that were any good in my lifetime over at Iowa. In the last decade, they could not develop a quarterback. And that's the thing that's kept them from being a college football playoff team, is the inability to develop a quarterback. There are still maybe some unproven position guys because they're just new, right? They've been proven other places. They're newer here. But when you talk about guys that are a little bit older and you can automatically assume they're going to get better, I think about guys like David Busey in the secondary. I think of guys that have been there for a while. Peyton Williams, I expect to be better. Not just that Peyton Williams is older, but he's going to be better. Why? Because Torian Gray's coaching the defensive backs. You have, especially on defense, the idea that your position coaches and your defensive coordinator have been so good at developing players that I can really buy, hey, we might have 4 or 5 seniors, maybe 6 on that side of the ball. And I want to say, oh, well, they're going to be better than they were last year. The entire linebacking core between Fred J.R. Johnson, Sean Murphy, Justin Okoronkwo, I'm operating on the assumption those guys make a jump and get better. Why? Because they play in Clayton White's defense. I think that's the thing, too. At least on the defensive side of the ball, I can hear that and I can completely buy into it.
Also, the continuity of coaching, as you stated. I'm used to hearing the way Clayton corrects people on these things. So he doesn't even have to say it. I know exactly what I did wrong, or I know exactly what I'm doing right, because I'm just used to those coaching cues from this coach who I've been with for some players for their whole career. Vakari Swain, Peyton Williams. They know that what the coaches are talking about because they understand and they've spoke that language for their whole times here. And so they can either, 1, take the coaching, 2, be able to translate the coaching to some of the new players, maybe Quay or Jazavian or some of the freshmen. I can go, if I'm a freshman, if I'm Jazavian, I don't have to go talk to the coach. I can go talk to one of the old guys.
Yeah.
And maybe he can give it to me in regular language instead of coach's translation, because sometimes coaches start talking, I don't know it. Especially when you're a freshman, I don't know what the deep third is, man. It's like, like I don't know.
I didn't learn that in high school.
That wasn't in my playbook. But the old guy can relate to me, and I think you need a lot of that around a team to make everybody better.
And it's in that part of what you mentioned, too, that whole element of it on offense, what makes me feel better, too, is that guys like Nick Harbor have kind of adjusted to taking some leadership roles. That's one thing that Nick said during SEC Media Days was that I've been trying to help out a lot of the younger guys, too. If they ask me a question, I want to get them an answer. Even if I don't know it, I will find someone who does. I would just paraphrasing there. It's trying to be as helpful as possible. Makes me feel like guys like even Nick Harbor, too, in terms of a leadership role and a leadership position, are just going to be better at that this year. I guess when Shane mentioned that, I was sitting there and I was thinking, I never put it really into context on a few seniors you had. You had guys that played some college football, but if you're comparing and contrasting this year's roster and last year's roster, this year will feature more guys where this is going to be their last year of eligibility.
Bang, because you can't fake desperate.
Nope.
You can't fake like, guys that, you're never going to play another game. No, this is actually it for a lot of these guys. And there's a level of urgency and a level of seriousness that comes with just the idea that this is the last time that you're going to be playing. So it doesn't even, if you're a junior or a sophomore, you don't know when your last game is going to be because we understand how that works in football. But when you're a senior, that reality is facing you every single day. So this is your last first day of camp, last first time putting on pads, last scrimmage, last, like all of that stuff. And it does start to run in your mind. So the level of urgency on a team is always going to be higher when you have more seniors, especially.
So what you're telling me is that there's more Kenny Loggins players on this team.
This is it.
This is it. Make no mistake where you are. This is it.
This is absolutely it. Yeah, because the coaches can say that all the time, but when you actually dog, I got 14 weeks of football left. And then you start breaking it down, and then the coaches start, last week of padded practice, or the last 2 days, or whatever. It's like, man, this is really for real. And that level of urgency oftentimes translates into a higher level of intensity in practice.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why, for some players, this has been their hardest offseason. Not because Shane said he was going to make it intentionally harder this year than it has his time here at South Carolina. I think there's maybe an element of desperation on his part, too, because he knows what's at stake for him. But for these players, too, if you're going to have that many last-year guys, you don't want to go out the same way you went out last year. That's not how you want to remember your time at South Carolina. I mean, if you look at that baseball team, for an example, here on campus, that was a lot of dudes that were playing maybe some of their last years of college baseball. I don't think they like how that went. I'm sure they would tell you, hey, you don't want to go out the way we went out, especially with the amount of talent that you have on that roster, too.
This is it, number 4 on my Michael McDonald backup songs, singing backup, because, I mean, the way he comes in on that bridge is, whew, he was cooking on that one.
Is Michael McDonald the first example of being a good star player and a good role player?
I like where you're going with this.
I can't even think of a parallel in
I like where you're going
now.
with that. I like where you're going because he can take the lead, but also if you need him to come off the bench and be the backup guy, he can do that too.
The only guy I can think of is Kyle Lowry. Because Kyle Lowry was an all-star. But
no,
you know what?
Michael McDonald's way better than Kyle Lowry.
I feel like Kyle Lowry is a little too low of a bar for Michael McDonald.
This is a good one. Maybe Luther Vandross. Maybe he's known as a solo singer, but did a lot of background work also. I like where your head's at with this one.
Yeah, I can't even think of I'm trying to think of
Sheryl Crow.
Oh,
did you know Sheryl Crow sang background for Michael Jackson?
I did not.
Sheryl Crow sang background for Michael Jackson, so it's maybe. Am I developing a list here? I might be.
I think you are. I think we can find more examples of that in music than we can in sports because I'm drawing such a blank. That is going to be my assignment throughout the show. Who was a great star player and a good role player in their respective sports the same way Michael McDonald
Jimi Hendrix, bad role player. That's why he got kicked out of so many bands. Not
a team player.
Not a team player at all.
Nope, absolutely not.
Jimmy, stop.
Jimi Hendrix is Russell Westbrook?
Maybe.
Maybe. Maybe.
Can't contain them.
Can't contain them. Coming up next, though, practice does start today. So what is Shane looking for in some of these position battles? Well, we'll hear from Coach Beamer in that question next here in the early game.
Want to play? The Game Network. Columbia, Charleston, Florence, and Myrtle Beach.
A moment of good feels from your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
Asia Wilson and the Gamecocks are number one.
Now that's some good feels right there.
For the first time in school history, NCAA champions of women's college basketball.
From 107.5 The Game and The Game Network. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at herndonchevy.com.
Pressing here for our folks at Integrated Media that the clock is ticking. The season is approaching. Make sure you call the folks at Integrated Media and get your outdoor setup ready so you can have everything in place for when the games actually start. My personal favorite thing that you need to get in place is the Wi-Fi, because the Wi-Fi controls all your whole viewing experience. You can have your quad box going on the TV, your iPad, your laptop, your phone, all working at the same time, and don't have to worry about any lag time or buffering because you know you have a strong Wi-Fi signal set up. Also, you can get Sonos outdoor speakers for TV and music. You might even be playing some Spotify while you're listening to the games. You can be doing all kinds of stuff, and the Wi-Fi is going to help you out with that. From home theater setup to adjusting the thermostat, monitoring your security systems from your cell phone, Integrated Media is who you need to call. Call Nathan and Michael at 803-948-8327. That's 803-948-8327. Or reach them online at integratedmediainc.com.
Up your next night out at Overtime Bar and Grill, Columbia's premier casual sports bar, family pool hall, and neighborhood hangout. Just 2 miles from Williams-Brice Stadium at 1840 Bluff Road, Overtime is the local destination for Gamecock fans and families. Play on 9 professional pool tables or join their official APA and BCA league tournaments. Catch the games on 14 HD TVs or enjoy electronic darts and arcade games. Hungry? Try Overtime Bar and Grill's famous loaded cheese fries, custom burgers, and top-rated signature wings. There's even a kids menu. With a 96% Facebook recommendation rate, you are family here. Order online for easy delivery. Live life in Overtime. Overtime Bar and Grill. Take advantage of this great sweet deal from Overtime Bar and Grill. Beginning Friday morning at 9 a.m., log on to 1075thegame.com and click on Sweet Deals to get a $50 gift certificate to Overtime Bar and Grill for just $25.
Elijah Campbell from The Game here, and so is back to school. New schedules, new routines. Now give your home a fresh start with 3 rooms of insanely clean carpets plus a free hallway for just $109. Plus save $75 on air duct cleaning. Book today at zerorescolumbia.com.
Sweet, $50. Who are you, and why do you have that guitar?
Now you want that $50. There's something you should know. The people in your life, the things they require will grow and grow and grow. There's your friend that wants you to buy him chips. Your cousin Nate who wants extra drip. Your aunt who loves a titanium hip. Your dad with a house.
The South Carolina Education Lottery, where the fun goes on and on and on.
The first thing I would say is stop painting and get Rhino Shield, because you're never going to have to paint again, and I truly believe that.
Don't spend your summer in the Carolinas painting. Do what Scott did. He called Rhino Shield.
This house is a stucco home. We have painted this house 3 times. Stucco continued to crack. The caulking peeled.
And Rhino Shield's not paint. It's better.
I told my wife that I want to see what it's going to cost to do it, because if we don't have to paint again, we're saving money.
Rhino Shield comes with a 25-year warranty, and it's formulated for our unique climate.
The Rhino Shield guys, they were careful with everything. When they were done, there was no damage to anything. It was something that I was very impressed with.
And now you can get the guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield right now for 10% off the regular price.
And I think the transferable warranty for 25 years is a very attractive thing, especially for a prospective buyer in the future.
Here's owner Dan Hoey.
This offer is limited, so call today at 833
Rhino99 or visit RhinoShieldCarolina.com.
Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Your next success can begin sooner than you think. At University of Maryland Global Campus, undergraduate and most graduate classes start August 12th. Apply now and save with no application fee. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
It's the Game Network Traffic Report from the Schroeder's Towing Traffic Center. Broken down and need a tow or even free signage for your lot? Dial pound 250 and use keyword tow truck today.
We don't have any reports of any accidents right now, but we do have some fog out there, some of it locally heavy, so be mindful of that if you would. That fog will be clearing out. Sunshine later today, 91 for the high. Some clouds tomorrow, 92 on Sunday. We're looking for a high of 94 with mostly sunny skies. But right now, again, some of that fog out there. Be careful. It is 71.
Early game. With former Gamecocks Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen. On the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and the Game TV radio on YouTube.
We're talking about practice. Not a game. Practice. We're going to channel our inner Allen Iverson here because practice does start today, and there are plenty of position battles going on right now. Running back, really don't know who the starter is going to be there. Kicker.
Not talked about enough.
Yeah, the one that just kind of goes under the radar there because we're not really sure who the kicker is going to be.
Mark that.
Oh, yeah. And I got so much sound yesterday that we can't possibly get it all in today, and I'm going to be out next week. But we're going to have to go deep into special teams. And Matthew Smiley did reveal to me what he looks for in these competitions. So that is something certainly worth discussing. But there are all types of position battles. Receiver, because the room's so deep, you can't have everybody on the field at once. So how do players create separation in these types of environments? I know coaches love to try to create competition within practices. A lot of them do it differently, but almost any coach you ask before a season and you're asking about a camp battle or a position battle, whatever way you want to describe it, they're going to talk about wanting to create competition. And this will be cut 8, Jen. Shane was asked yesterday, too, about when it comes to these position battles, what are the things that he looks for?
Yeah, I think a lot of that was the summer. That obviously we don't broadcast what we did in the summer and whatnot, but I mean, I spent, Luke and his guys did a great job. I spent over 3 hours this morning with the strength staff, just me and the strength coaches, going through every player on the team and talking about the summer. And, we pay a lot of attention to that. How available you are in the summer. Do you have a bunch of bumps and bruises and issues that keep you out of workouts, or are you readily available every workout that we had going back to May? Because that means we can depend on you. Injuries are a part of it. I'm not saying that, but the guys that are able to sustain and do what they need to do in the summertime, that's something that I put a lot of stock in. How guys worked over the summer. I mean, we can talk about a lot of guys that, had great summers, but really who really separated themselves, particularly in a position battle. And yeah, coming out of spring practice, there are some battles that we knew there were decisions to make, and they still are. But certainly this summer, there's some guys to me that separated themselves from the pack with the summers they had. So that would be one thing before we even start practice. And then once you get into practice, yeah, I mean, it's easy to say this guy's making a lot of plays, but just, who's that tough, smart, dependable guy that just does things right day in, day out. He doesn't flash one day and then disappear the next. He's just, steady and consistent. And those are the guys that you want to go to battle with.
One thing I thought was pretty interesting there is, without saying this phrase, he said this phrase. And that's availability is your best ability.
Oh, yeah. Got it written down right here.
You and me both.
Mind meld. I like it.
If Jen was our teacher right now, she would accuse us of copying off each other.
We cheated off each other. Says, how did you get this answer? Did you know Elijah has the same answer as you?
Word for word, too. Interesting.
Yeah, I knew I was going to have to separate you or put those dividers in between everybody.
Got to have the dividers now. Can't trust us without it.
Yep.
Have to have the dividers up for our notes.
The best ability is availability.
And that is when you do have, like the running back room, I think it's maybe the best example of this, right? There's a cluster of guys. I can't tell you right now who the guy who's going to get the most carries in I almost said the Old Dominion game, in the Kent State game here in, 29 days. I can't tell you who the most carries is going to be. I can't tell you if it's Matt Fuller. I can't tell you if it's Jabri Coleman or Christian Clark or Jawarn Howell. Shoot, for all I know, Isaiah Gustav could be your number one back this year. For all I know, because we know nothing. There is a cluster of guys there that could possibly get that. And when you're trying to make these decisions, yeah, I think it does make sense that, can I trust you to be able to be durable throughout the course of a game? Because I don't want to have to make a switch in the middle of it, right? And disrupt the flow of your offense or whatever it is, right? You need whoever is going to be that starter, somebody that you know can take a big hit in a game and be able to be readily available for the next play.
Now, he laid out the process for the summer, and that is great. Guy's working out. He's available. He's lifting a lot of weights. He's running the sprints. He's there every day. That is what gets you to be on when they call him out, the A group. That's how you get to be in the A group.
Mm-hmm.
But then the most important part that he stated comes after that, and that's the actual playing. All the summer leaves you is just maybe you get, to use a NASCAR parlance, pole position.
Yes.
You have pole position on this starting spot. But if you go out there and you drop 5 passes, miss 3 blocks, get washed over, all that stuff you did in the summer does not matter. We do not care. So you could have lifted every single weight in the summer, and you could have done every single run, and you could have, Coach, I'll do it. You could have been first in line. But if you get to practice, and when we put these pads on, and the pads get to cracking, and you don't show up, thank you for your service in the summer.
If you're going to be available, be good and available.
You have to be, because yes, all of that stuff prepares you for that. So you're doing all that stuff so that you can be in the best possible position for yourself. But ultimately, when practice starts, when we start getting into this, it doesn't matter what sport we're talking about, basketball, baseball, football. What matters is when we start to play the game.
Mm-hmm.
And so the first part, this is the people that run out for the positions. But also the other part about the position battles is that yes, we do love depth charts because there's so many battles going on up and down the depth chart. It's not just about who's the starter. It's about who's the third guy or who's the second guy. And that is where it gets really interesting throughout camp.
It's one of those things, too. I love that they do track so much of, like, individual progress when it comes to not just weightlifting, but, like, not durability, like athleticism, like tests, things of that nature. Because if you're training really hard in the summer, you're gonna get better at certain things.
Of course,
right? You're going to your measurables, not just like in weightlifting, but like agility, things of that nature are going to improve. And I think the big thing for me is using that as a baseline. Now, obviously, what Shane said there is going to be helpful for guys that are going to start practice today.
Yes,
to be in that pole position. But you got to be able to do it with pads on, too. That's the reason why, you see so many combine guys that have crazy measurables, maybe don't flash in the NFL because it might not translate. But there is some value. There's a lot of value to getting stronger, faster over the offseason.
A ton of value, and that helps you improve your position, and that helps you get better at maybe some of the weaknesses that were holding you back in your game. So that's why you want to use the summer. But make no mistake about it. The depth chart is not determined by how much weights you lifted in the summertime. It's determined by how many plays you make once practice starts.
Are you fumbling my football?
That's what exactly. And that's where we're about to get started. That's why practice is so exciting. If we didn't have to have that, we'd just start the season right after the summer.
We would.
But we don't, because we gotta figure out these weights. And somebody will pop that they didn't expect, and that's the beauty of camp.
Yeah, you fumble my football, you run a mile. You know how many yards are in a mile, Petey? How many feet are in a mile? 5,280 feet. Remember the Titans. Great film. Coming up next, though, how did Lenore Sellers assess his season last year? And what were his conversations like with Shane Beamer 251 days ago whenever they walked off that field against Clemson to lose and go 4-8 on the season? Well, Shane talked about it. We'll hear from Coach Beamer next.
Wow, what a play. The Game Network. Columbia, Charleston, Florence, and Myrtle Beach. It's 2026 SEC Media Days.
And the game was there all week.
Is the legislation really what you're asking, what I would have drafted had I been given the pen solely? No. But that's part of the legislative process, the back and forth.
On the Game Network, the 107.5 The Game app, and at the Game TV radio on YouTube.
Hey, it's Jen for CHW Cabinetry in Lexington. Had to get a brand new kitchen, had to take it down to the studs and totally got it. And it was a stressful time, but not with the women at CHW Cabinetry. That's right, locally owned business, a women-owned business in Lexington, doing great things for their customers. They helped us choose all of the accessories we wanted. Then they got the layout, the photorealistic rendering of the finished kitchen before it was finished. It was such a great experience. When it came to doing some bathrooms, we only had one choice, and that was to call CHW Cabinetry. They can do so many things to make your home a little more functional. Help you with pantries, put some drawers in. That makes such a huge difference. Maybe you'd like some cabinetry in your closet to get a little more organized. So many ways they can help. Visit chwcabinetry.com. Call them today at 803-520-6837. And, of course, tell them Jen sent you. CHW Cabinetry in Lexington. Passion from inspiration to installation.
By SC Education Lottery.
The Powerball jackpot for Saturday is $856 million. Be sure to stop by your local South Carolina Education Lottery retailer and get your ticket today. See sceducationlottery.com for jackpot odds and a store near you.
Powered by Integrated Media. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. Shepherd's Glass.
Dining out? Yikes. Couldn't be me. Except, wait, it is me? Because now, for a limited time at McDonald's, I can get a classic McChicken or sausage burrito for just $1.50. You heard that correctly. $1.50 USD. That's less than the gas to get there. Or 1 hour of parking. Or, well, honestly, most things right now. Leave it to McDonald's to come through for me and the crew when we need it the most. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
This is Larry Leitner, owner and founder of Midstate Roofing, and for nearly 30 years, we've continued to be the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. Midstate Roofing's proven history is your assurance that our professionals at Midstate Roofing will provide the proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility in a manner both safe and pleasing to your operation. From high-rise to hospitals, manufacturing to industrial, Midstate Roofing designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee that will keep your operation dry and running long into the future. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And this is Blake Leitner, reminding you to protect that roof with a maintenance contract. Call me today at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. That's midstateroofing.com.
You'll speak to an on-call technician after hours or a Midstate Roofing staff member during hours at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. And as always, tell them Midstate Twins.
If you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
Looking for a truck dealership that treats you like family? Come to Herndon Chevrolet, your truck headquarters, proudly serving Lexington and the Midlands for over 50 years. Whether you're after a brand new Silverado, a tough pre-owned truck, or expert service, you'll find it all right here with a huge selection and the best truck deals around. There's no better place to shop. Visit HerndonChevy.com or stop by today.
Herndon Chevrolet, Herndon makes you wanna smile.
Scott here from Traditions Fine Jewelers. If you're in the market for an engagement ring, you'll be glad to know the team at Traditions has over 175 years of collective experience in the diamond business. And with over 1,000 diamond rings in stock, you won't see a selection like ours anywhere else. And if you already know what your dream ring looks like, we can build it for you. Need financing? We have a ton of options there too. So come see us and you'll understand why Traditions truly is where the Midlands get engaged. Conveniently located in Lexington and Sandhills.
We love to hear your opinion. Go to @1075 The Game on Twitter X and participate in our polls. Our Twitter X polls sponsored by IntelliSystems. Schedule a cyber audit today at IntelliSystems.com. It's the Game Network Traffic Report from the Schroeder's Towing Traffic Center. Broken down and need a tow or even free signage for your lot? Dial pound 250 and use keyword tow truck today.
So far, your Friday morning looking good. No accidents to report. And it's going to be a little bit better today. The rain should be out of here. We're going to have fog this morning, this afternoon, some sunshine rolling back out. 91 for the high today, 92 tomorrow, Sunday 94, mostly sunny skies. But as I mentioned, we do have some patchy dense fog out there this morning, so be careful. Make sure your headlights are on. It's 71.
Former Gamecock Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen on the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and at the Game TV radio on YouTube.
Before we hear what Shane Beamer had to say about his discussions with Lenora Sellers after the season last year, we'll go out to the AAA Heating and Air phone lines, which you can also access by dialing at pound 250 and saying keywords the game. Our pal Joe's on the line. Good morning, Joe. Welcome to the early game.
Hey, good morning, fellas. Can you guys hear me? I'm at the gym.
Oh, absolutely. Pumping iron and calling in. I like that.
So listen, man. It's a pet peeve of mine when it comes to Sean. Yesterday he was asked about what players does he see that are standing out above the rest of the guys. And you know, like, you know when your parents ask you, did you clean up the room, but you know you didn't? So you're trying to find a way to give them an excuse that doesn't make them real mad. The first thing Shane said was, I'm not trying to avoid the question. Shane, yes, you are trying to avoid the question. Just tell us who's standing out, man. I remember when Gilmore came on campus, he was a true freshman. Steve Spurrier did not hesitate to say, hey, look, he's a starter. He's going to be the first corner on the field when game time comes around. You know, you just have those players, man, that stand out above, head and shoulders above the rest. Jillian Walker, Kearns, everybody's talking about these guys. Mm-hmm. You know, and if you're one of those players that's taking it personal because he doesn't call your name, then guess what? Step the game up. Get in the film room, get in the weight room, do what you need to do to become that guy that he talks about. It just really aggravates me when he says stuff like that. And you can tell that the players are conditioned to give the same answer. They all say, well, all of the guys are doing good. No, all of them are not. Quit telling lies. No, that's not the truth. So, I just wanted to comment on that, man. So, it's football season, man. Just tell the truth, man. Just tell, who are the guys that you see that are progressing? You know, if someone is taking it personal, that means they need to do what they need to do. All right? Good show, guys. I'll talk to you later, man. Have a great day.
Awesome. Good stuff there from Joe. Yeah. You're not going to get much out of Shane Beamer when you're asking maybe for a specific player that's showing out. Yesterday, he kind of said, well, if I say one guy but forget to mention somebody else and all this type of stuff, he wasn't going to answer that.
Yeah, I'm with you, Joe. I understand exactly. It's one thing if we're asking you to point out somebody that's doing the wrong thing. I get trying to cover everybody else. But if we're talking about people who are doing well, let's give them some. Let's see who it is.
I want to like a little truth serum just to put in there and just be like, hey, I really want to know who's showing out.
Right.
I just want to know. We're starving for
We don't want to know who's doing bad. We want to know who's doing good. You don't have to throw anybody under the bus.
If you want to tell me who's doing bad, I'm really curious, right? I'll take anything for information. I'll take anything I can get. I'll gladly have. That's the difference in college and the NFL, because like in the NFL you can watch like the entire practices, right? Like in training camp, you know who is stinking the joint up.
That would be another. NFL. Hey, college coaches, you say you want the NFL? You sure? Because we have access to it all in the NFL. Are you willing to do that? I don't know if college coaches are willing to do that.
Because I've seen a lot of J.J. McCarthy clips going around on the internet. And a lot of reporters, when they haven't been recording, saying, hey, this is the stat line on one drive for one quarterback, and here's the one for the other.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately, it still really doesn't mean anything.
Mm-hmm.
Because one guy could really be stinking it up in training camp, still end up actually getting the starting job. That's the NFL. The NFL, yeah, definitely operates a little bit differently. We'll go back to the AAA heating and air phone lines because Andy is on the line with us. Good morning, Andy. Welcome to the early game.
Hey, morning, guys. I'm ready for the time when we're not talking about what's going to happen and we can talk about what is happening because good or bad or indifferent. I'm ready. And that's, that's what you got to do. But we're talking about who's going to be the running back. I want to know what your wish list is for the running backs because I have mine. I'm like, do you want two in different ways or do you want that one? It's like, that's my deal. And it's not just who's the best or because you're right. Whatever happens in practice can change on the field, but, and how you use them and if we have more than one that they can have to scheme for on the other side. So I'll hang up and listen, but what's your wish list?
Ooh, I like that. Andy, I'll give you our personal preferences first. And then we were going to play this in the next segment, but because you brought it up, we might as well play it, here in this one. But before we get to Stan Drayton, because I asked Stan Drayton kind of something similar in terms of, is the bell cow back dead in college football? And whether or not running back by committee is sort of a thing, because I think that's kind of what Andy's getting to there is what is your wish list in terms of just how the rotation is going to look like? My preference is that you at least have two that you can split in the backfield. If you're going to go by committee, it needs to be a small committee, right? And then maybe have a situational runner. Maybe somebody like Jabri Coleman's your situational guy. Stan Drayton did tell me yesterday that he is really, one thing he likes about Jabri is that he is a physical runner. So if that's maybe your most physical runner, maybe that's your short distance back. But having got two guys, and two guys that I think I like the most in that room is Matt Fuller and Christian Clark. Having those two guys, maybe splitting those carries pretty evenly, keeping them really fresh throughout the season. And then to quote Stan Drayton from yesterday too, riding the hot foot.
I like that. Okay.
We'll ride the hot foot when we have to. But here's Stan Drayton yesterday when this week cut 18, Jen. I asked him about the way football's going right now in terms of running back carry distribution. Is the bell cow back dead? Do you do running backs by committee? What were his thoughts on that? Here's what Stan Drayton told me.
It's all predicated on your personnel, right? If you had a guy, like even Ezekiel Elliott back in the day, he had a lot of touches at Ohio State, but, he didn't play the whole entire game. He was able to last a whole entire season because of, Carlos Hyde in the room and Curtis Samuel in the room and guys like that. And then, as they become pros, they understand the beauty behind the madness is, you need those guys. So I don't think nowadays, there used to be a time where a back said, I just want to be the guy, I want to play and carry the ball 40 times a game. If you want to last a whole entire season, probably not the right thing to do. And for us, if we're going to be a running back by committee rotation, that's going to be because that's who we are. All right. I am of the mindset of that if any one of those guys ever were to get the hot foot, then I have my guy, and I'm going to ride that hot foot. But if we have to be by committee, if there's somebody that's doing something better than the other in situational play, for example, on short yardage, goal line, or whatever it may be, then we'll put the right personnel in the game to win the game. But no, it's just a matter of who we are and what we are in that moment. We'll figure it out.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. He said two things that corrected two of our biggest icks from last season in the same LSU game.
Yeah, in the same game. Highlights the entire season in terms of the issues at running back.
Matthew Fuller busts a 75-yard run, does not touch the ball anymore that game. That would not be riding the hot foot.
No.
Then, in a goal line situation where it has been pretty much known that Rasul Faison is not his thing, we put him in there to block in a situation. He does not execute the block.
Guess what happens? He got blown up.
So I think just from what he said just now, that sounded like music to my ears from Stan Drayton just now.
Oh, no, we're getting a call. Oh, no, it's Rex Ryan. He heard us say hot foot like 3 different times. Jen, we need to block that number. Do not let Rex Ryan call this show again. I know exactly why he's calling, and it's not to say hey. Rex Ryan, get out of here. But that is correct, though. You have to be able to do that.
He said two things that were the exact issues that we had last year.
And I didn't get it on the cut list because I was trying to upload so many clips last night that not all of them did. But when I was talking to Matt Fuller, I asked him, what's maybe a difference between Stan Drayton and other running backs coaches that you played for? And he said, well, he made me work on my pass protection a lot more. He said that I grew a lot in pass protection. And I think that's, between the management of carries and getting these fellas to help out the offensive line and be able to help max protect, two very important things to weigh out there. Coming up next, though, we will get to that Shane Beamer clip talking about his conversation with Lenora Sellers. You'll hear that next year on the early.
Play the Game Network. Columbia, Charleston, Florence, and Myrtle Beach.
Hey, this is Preston here from 107.5 The Game and The Game Network. If you run a diner, bakery, coffee shop, burger joint, pizza spot, or that hidden gym that everybody should know about, how would you like to get the word out about your business without spending a dime? Well, we got you. All you have to do is text your name, your business, your phone number to 803-404-6100, and we'll be in touch. There is no catch. Times are tough, but we're here to help you and your business.
This is a Westwood One Sports Minute. I have no idea how Carson Beck's NFL career is going to go, but if nothing else, we at least have the 2026 Hall of Fame game. Carson Beck did the unthinkable. He made what is categorically the worst game of the NFL season watchable. He was throwing the ball down the field, all over the field. It was beautiful. Let's start a quarterback competition in Arizona. It'll at least make the Cardinals interesting on that day.
Like saving money, right? We all do. That's why Allstate just lowered the price of car insurance. Not, but wait, there's a catch. Lower. Actually lower. So if you're shopping around or just want to see how much you could save, check Allstate first for a new lower auto rate that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Not available in every state. Only applicable for new auto insurance business. Rates will vary by several factors, including how you purchase the policy. Potential savings vary. Allstate North American Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
My car is making this noise. Sometimes it's like doop doop, and sometimes it's like.
Do you have a dash light on?
Oh yeah.
Then we don't have to listen for clues. With the free Fix Finder service, we can read a check engine, ABS, or maintenance light to find the likely fix and even recommend a local shop if you need one.
So you don't need to hear the.
Not with Fix Finder. Free at every AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
When you've got real work to do, Metal Supermarkets will help you get it done fast. We've got a huge variety of metals in stock, and we cut to size fast. Bottom line, we get it done fast, so you get it done fast. Doesn't get easier than that. Metal Supermarkets, the convenience stores for metal. Find a store or buy online at metalsupermarkets.com.
Sound familiar? At Mattress Firm, we understand there are many problems that can keep you up at night, like snoring, aches and pains, or sleeping hot. Our sleep experts have the unrivaled know-how to match you with a mattress that can help. And now at Mattress Firm, upgrade to a Tempur-Pedic and learn how you can get 3% back plus an instant gift. For the great sleep you deserve, visit Mattress Firm. We make sleep easy. Restrictions apply. See store or website for details.
To make exercise a habit, find something you enjoy, like shopping. It counts as a workout when it's Kohl's Active Sale. Get 20% off across the store and 25% off top active brands for feeling your best. Plus, enjoy a sales tax holiday in South Carolina. Adding to your cart is pretty much cardio, right? Find out at Kohl's. Select styles. 25% offer ends August 15th. 20% offer ends August 16th. Exclusions apply. See store or kohls.com for details.
Surprise. Wait, do I know you? You use your Discover Cashback card to earn 5% cashback on restaurants all quarter. Yeah. Now, it's payback time.
Whoa, hold on.
Go ahead.
Oh, you mean my Discover Cashback.
I told you there'd be payback.
You know, you have a weird way of delivering good news.
I'm working on that.
Activate and earn 5% cash back at different categories each quarter on up to $1,500 in purchases.
Terms apply. See discover.com/5 for details.
The Early Game. With former Gamecock Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen. On the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and the Game TV radio on YouTube.
Lenore Sellers, clearly a big talking point about this football team this year. And so much of whether this team reaches their goals or not will hinge on how much of a jump Lenore makes and correcting some of the mistakes that they saw last season. So how does Lenore Sellers assess that year when he's talking to Coach Beamer? Well, here's Shane talking about the discussion. This will be cut 6, Jen. This is Coach Beamer talking about the conversations he's had with Lenore this offseason.
Yeah, I think he when you have the season that we had, the blame falls on the head coach, and rightfully so. And then, not just in South Carolina, but anywhere, the quarterback. And he doesn't believe he's a 4-8 quarterback. And I don't believe that he's a 4-8 quarterback, So he took ownership and accountability for the season, and absolutely, we've got to be better around Lenore. There's no doubt about it, but Lenore will be the first to tell you. And we had a good meeting way back in whenever that was, January, myself and Lenore, and Kendall was here, and Lenore's his family, and just kind of talking about what 2026 is going to look like and what we need from each other, how we can be better for him, and where he needs to be better too. And he accepted all that and has really worked hard to be a better player.
So, Preston Thorne, biggest thing you want to see from Lenore Sellers this season in terms of what he didn't do last year?
If we're talking about technically in the game, I would say get rid of the ball when he feels a little bit of that pressure that's coming in. Don't try and make the extravagant play with his arm. Use your legs for sure, but if you need to get rid of the ball, just get rid of the ball and live to play the next down. That would be my main thing for him. But with Lenore, you don't want to say too much because you take away all the great stuff that can possibly happen.
That he naturally has.
Yeah, so it's a very delicate line when you have somebody that's that talented, because I don't want to give you all these rules and tell you to get rid of the ball and do all that stuff, and all the time I'm eliminating what actually makes you so special.
And I think that's one reason the Kendall Briles offense probably is going to suit him better. They talked a lot yesterday about the reads being simpler. Kendall Briles mentioned the half-field reads being simpler, mixed plays helping out with that a lot too. Maybe making it, the verbiage a little more easy to go back and forth too. That's one thing with some of the receivers that I talked to. The common denominator about the offense was not only that it's fun. Jaden Sellers described it as explosive, but it was easy to learn, right? We're going out there having fun. We don't need to be, I think Donovan Murph said, it's just more moving than thinking. And I think that helps for your quarterback a lot too. If you can identify one player on the defense that you have to read what decision they make, it's going to make things a lot easier for you.
See this thing in my hand? The iPhone. This is what Steve Jobs did. He took a very complex piece of machinery and made it so that an idiot like me can do really cool things. I don't know what's happening in here. I just know if I hit a button, cool things happen. That's what the coordinator's job is to do. I don't need to know why this is working, because you already did all that thinking for me.
Right.
Just tell me to hit the app button, RPO app, boop, and something's happening.
Yeah, I know the recipe. I know the menu item tastes really good. I don't care about the recipe.
Right.
That's for you to figure out, right? And that's sort of the beauty of this offense. Taking because those are complex ideas that you have to do all the background work and break it down. By the time it gets to me, I'm not doing that. So very similar. Like I said, the reason why the iPhone took off is because it took complex machinery and put it in a very simple, easy-to-use package.
We were talking earlier about great role players that were also great star players.
Mm-hmm.
On the text line, Chris says, Phil Collins, Genesis served as drummer, backing vocalist, and eventually lead vocalist after Peter Gabriel left. And, of course, Phil Collins' solo stuff.
No Jacket Required is a Desert Island album for me.
Ooh.
It is one of my favorite albums. The back half of that album, whew, Peter Gabriel's good too. I went on the Genesis thing last summer. Peter Gabriel's a lot better than I remembered.
Locked in.
Yeah, but Phil Collins, yes, can play the drums. Rare drummer, singer. Can you imagine playing the drums and singing at the same time? That's crazy.
That's hard. That looks so difficult. I don't have, I guess, the attention span to be able to do two things at once like that. I'm not the greatest multitasker in the world. Lord knows I attempt it. I can't do that.
I would also position Hello Goodbye as maybe the saddest boys song ever.
It very well could be.
A couple sad boy tunes on that album. One More Night, such a sad boy song.
Which means I am reeled in. Say less, brother. You have reeled me in right there. And we're trying to think of sports parallels, too. We did have one texter put Andre Iguodala on that list, too.
I like it.
Was a star player with the Sixers.
Yeah, but his real career took off when he adapted the backup role, and that's when he actually became a bigger, better piece of the NBA.
He won his Finals MVP as the sixth man. So, not many more music parallels that fit that mold than sports parallels. Plenty of them. Coming up next, though, David Ubben from The Athletic has South Carolina as a college football playoff sleeper. We had him on to talk about it. You'll hear it next.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at herndonchevy.com.
All right, guys, the season is here, and maybe you didn't reach the goals that you set at the beginning of the year, but you got to understand, football season starts a new year, and that could be an opportunity to get a new you with Dr. Dan Baltnight at the Men's Clinic. Dr. Dan Baltnight is a respected local physician, and he'll help you reach all the goals that you're attempting to reach. This isn't some nameless, faceless online clinic where you send your numbers into a portal and it spits numbers back at you. You don't know, and never talk to anybody. You'll actually talk to a human being with a pulse, and he'll get to the bottom of the issues that you're facing. At the Men's Clinic, you'll find a non-threatening, comfortable environment where all your concerns are welcome. The best part, your initial consultation with Dr. Dan Baltnight is absolutely free. Come in, get your T levels checked. Do not wait. Call them at 803-875-MENS. That's 803-875-MENS. Or you can visit them online at mensclinicsc.com.
AutoZone. Starting stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement. Batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
I'm fixing to tell you something that the insurance industry does not want you to ever hear. Bullies often delay and deny. I see them sitting on premiums paid and making money and dragging it out for as long as they can. Many times, we're forced to take them to court. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Their high-paid lobbyists are on a mission to make sure that at trial, jurors are not allowed to learn that the at-fault party has insurance, and in some cases, lots of it. I can think of no case in all my years where there was no insurance for the at-fault party. So let's fight back. It's all these bullies understand. Tell everybody you know the truth. If you've been injured in a car crash or hurt at a store or business, visit forthepeople.com. We're here 24/7. It's that easy. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
Joe Sandifer, Esquire, 11915 Plaza Drive, Suite 301, Murrells Inlet, South Carolina, 29576.
It's the Hendrick Chevrolet Countdown to Kickoff.
29 days away.
Hendrick.
The most trusted name in automotive is right here in Columbia. Hendrick Chevrolet and Hendrick GMC. Buy now and make no payments for 3 months. Shop the nation's #1 dealer group, Hendrick Chevrolet and Hendrick GMC. With approved credit, see dealer for details.
Elijah Campbell from The Game here, and so is back to school. New schedules, new routines. Now give your home a fresh start with 3 rooms of insanely clean carpets plus a free hallway for just $109. Plus save $75 on air duct cleaning. Look today at ZeroResColumbia.com.
We're change makers, problem solvers, and community builders. We are Rotary. And together, there's no limit to what we can accomplish. Take action with us. Find out more at rotary.org/action.
It's the Game Network Traffic Report from the Schroeder's Towing Traffic Center. Broken down and need a tow or even free signage for your lot? Dial pound 250 and use keyword tow truck today.
I-20 eastbound at North Main Street. We do have a report of an accident there. No others right now. 91 for the high today, 92 tomorrow, up to 94 on Sunday. Starting off today with some morning fog, so do be careful. Keep those low beam headlights on to help you out till we get past that. Right now, though, besides a little bit of fog, it's 71.
former Gamecock Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell. Let's get it. And Jen Jensen. On the Game Network and streaming on the 107.5 The Game app.
Hour number 2 of the early game starts right now. I'm Elijah Campbell. He is Preston Thorne. She is Jen Jensen. And he, from The Athletic, is David Ubben, college football writer for The Athletic. And anytime South Carolina is mentioned in one of these stories, we either have to talk about it or get the person who wrote it on with us to talk about it. David's joining us right now. David, appreciate you taking the time now that kind of like media days season is kind of over. You're not going to have much peace left once the season starts, but we appreciate you taking the time to hang out with us this morning.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys. Always good to come on.
And the reason that we have David on, because Preston was reading through a story on The Athletic talking about sleepers, right? And I love sleepers. And if you want to look up the article, it's 8 college football playoff sleeper predictions from outside the preseason coaches poll. And this has got the whole team from The Athletic on this. And David picked South Carolina. So, David, I guess the first easy question to do here is, why do you believe after a 4-8 season last year that South Carolina has what it takes to surprise a lot of people this season?
Well, talent is the biggest part of it. You know, there's a lot of top-end talent. There's a lot of impact players all over the field. But I think the biggest thing is, you know, Shane has tried to kind of downplay, you know, the piling on of the offensive line, you know, consistently through the offseason. But actions speak louder than words. You know, you're making a change at offensive line coach. You're portaling in a whole new offensive line. Obviously, the OC change was a huge part of that. And when I watched that team last year, offensive line play and offensive scheme were the two things that jumped out to me. And when your offense is as bad as it was last year, you know, when the defense is putting up like average numbers, then it's kind of like, well, they're probably not playing up to their potential as well. I think there's some frustration there. They're probably put in some bad positions as well. But ultimately, I think if you can improve on the offensive line, you can have a scheme that, you know, one of the things that I felt like last year when you watched South Carolina, it didn't really seem clear what they were trying to do. And with this offense, I mean, there's 2 decades of, you know, proof of like, this is what this identity is. It's like they're going to pound you with the run game. If you don't have enough guys in the box, obviously the wide splits, all those things. And if you want to put an extra, you know, you want to put 6 guys in the box, then they're going to throw it over your head. And guess what? They got a pretty good set of receivers to do that. You know, those deep choice routes are killers. And there's not a lot of people that are going to be able to run, you know, with Nick Harbor, with Donovan Murph. We'll see what, you know, Nitro Tuggle brings to it. You know, you do need that slot. You need that inside threat. But if you have guys that have the speed to take off the top of the defense, obviously a mobile quarterback in Lenore Sellers, the big arm, talented guy, like there's a ton of potential there. And so regardless of whatever the execution is, I think the identity will be there. And the execution, you know, doesn't have to be elite. It just has to be better. And this offense gives them a shot. And I think the offensive line, you know, just better personnel can help you.
Most certainly. David Ubben from The Athletics on with us right now. And you mentioned Lenora Sellers too. And I think a lot of national media, or especially like NFL draft people, have kind of really soured on him because of last year. And you mentioned the offensive line and the pressures. And as you could imagine, that's been a topic we have talked about ad nauseum here on this show for, I don't know, the last year or so. How much of picking them as a sleeper is a belief that the 2025 Lenora Sellers is not the Lenora Sellers that we're going to get this year?
I mean, he'll definitely be better. Like the amount of times the Ole Miss game is the one that jumps out to me, but the amount of times that I'm watching him and he's running for his life as soon as he snapped or as soon as he's catching the ball it was a lot. And I think, you know, Shane talking about how like he's holding the ball too long. He's responsible for a lot of those sacks. I think there's definitely some truth to that. But ultimately, like the offensive line just wasn't good enough last year. And so, you know, any quarterback, if you're playing behind a better line or a line that's not playing well, you know, they're going to have a pretty acute impact on your performance and your numbers. You know, it's a team game, all those things. If you don't have receivers that can get open, if you don't have an offensive line that can block, no quarterback can be able to do that. And, you know, in that scheme, with that personnel. I don't think they gave him a lot of options there. But Lenore Sos, he's certainly a flawed quarterback. Has a lot of ways he needs to still get better. But we've seen enough from him that clearly he's a talented guy, and you put him in good positions, he can make some plays for you. And we saw some flashes last year, and so one of the things I can't remember if I think I threw this out in that piece, but the A&M game last year, listen, this is certainly a low point for the season. It was what it was. But the fact that you can rack up a 30-3 lead on a playoff team at halftime on the road in one of the toughest environments in college football, yes, the second half happened. But there's not a lot of teams that can do that, even have the ability to do what they did. And South Carolina's one of those. And I think that defensive line might end up being, one of the 5 best in the country as well. So I really think this is a group that has a ton of potential. You got to stay healthy. You need the offense to gel. But this is an offense that's pretty easy to learn. I don't know how they're treating Lenoris exactly, but you can make a lot of half-field reads and you're still fine. The way those deep choice routes go, and you put so much stress on the safeties, there's gonna be plays where he's throwing to Nick Harbor 5 yards deep of any other defender, and I think Lenore Sellers can make that throw. And I didn't see much of that at all last year.
Mm-hmm. Well, David, really quickly, we were doing a live watch along during that Texas A&M game, so you could imagine the horror that we faced as everybody had to watch us react to the things that were going on during that game.
My favorite thing, this is sort of not related to South Carolina, but my favorite thing about that game is people watching the first half, NFL people that didn't watch the game live, people watching the first half and being like, is Marcel Reed the worst quarterback in college football? It's no, he's a good – I read a story to my daughters at night about a girl who's a good kid just having a bad day, and I think that was Marcel Reed in that first half. A good kid just having a very bad day. He fixed it later, but that was a wild game. That was one of the craziest games of 2025 for sure.
Yeah, crazy enough to where we purchased an entire industrial-sized box of garnet glasses for a segment that we do at halftime of that game. And then, of course, the worst thing that could happen happens after said purchase of the garnet glasses. But
I did feel – I will – listen, I didn't think it was impossible at halftime, but it wasn't necessarily, because there was a lot of skepticism around A&M last year. It was is this team real? The schedule stuff was pretty fair, considering how it all shook out at the end of the year. And it's the idea that A&M could just get flattened on their home field by a team that had been underachieving but clearly was talented was not out of the realm of possibility. And then they kept playing and good things happened for them and very, very bad things happened for South Carolina.
Yeah, as you can imagine, the discourse around that game around here, not a ton of fun.
Yeah, and like I said, I think that's fair, but it's not to discount the second half, but the number of teams who could do what they did in the first half is short. And as bad as that situation was, I do think it tells you what the top end of this team can be, and I think they showed that in that first half.
Oh, yeah. It certainly is, especially defensively in that first half. You mentioned Marcel Reed looked like a good kid having a bad day. I think the one thing that Gamecock fans are really excited about, or at least are sure of, right? Some excited, some are just sure of, is that the Clayton White-led defense is going to be pretty good. What's kind of the consensus around Clayton White as a defensive coordinator and just how good this year's version of this defense can be given how much they returned?
Yeah, solid. I mean, last year the spotlight was kind of off them because they never really got started last season. But if you are that sleeper and you start going to the playoff this year, there's so much star power on this defense. I mean, obviously it starts with Dylan Stewart, but Vicari Swain is a heck of a player. I really like that front. I like Gabriel Brownlow-Dindy. I like him a lot. I think there's a lot of potential there. Peyton Williams, obviously, as well. They've got impact players all over the field, and any coach will tell you there's a lot of good coaches out there, but you are who your players are, and the reality is he's got some good coaches or some good players to coach. So I think at the end of the day, I think he'd tell you as much as anybody. When you have good players, you suddenly look like a much better coach, and I think that's going to be the case there. They've got so much talent across the field, and that's why they're one of these sleepers. If you look at teams that are outside of the top 25. You look at top, teams with top end talent. You're going to be hard pressed to find many that have as many impact players as South Carolina.
And then David, too, I know at the end of the article, too, you mentioned the factor of if South Carolina is going to get an 11 seed, that might be contingent on just how many bids the SEC gets, and that there has been a lot of complaining about strength of schedule. And now that there's 9 games that the SEC is playing, it's only going to get harder. The league adds an extra loss. How much of that do you think is going to matter when it comes down to it, right? I think I'm a firm believer that there's good peer pressure and bad peer pressure. Is there an idea that the peer pressure the SEC is giving the College Football Playoff Committee can allow somebody like South Carolina, if they go 9-3, to be able to get into this thing?
Well, this is part of the issue. I wrote about this at SEC meetings. Is the playoff came to Destin. We wrote a story about this, and the playoff people came and made their pitch for like, hey, this is what the playoff metrics are going to look like. This is what, and the SEC's coaches were furious because they're trying to get a guarantee that like, are you going to account for our schedule? And what can we do to make the metrics like our team? The SEC's coaches were very perplexed as to why the metrics loved BYU so much. And you could tell them in retrospect, but like the coaches were kind of losing their minds because there's no way to explain that the metrics can't be looking forward. You can't like game the metrics. So they were asking like, do we need to be more balanced? Is there a scheduling philosophy that's kind of the magic number for the metrics to like us? And they're like, you just don't know. There's too many variables. We don't know. And I think the combination of how the metrics work, and at the end of the day, the metrics are just informing 13 human beings' opinions. And of those 13, I think we have 4 new members on the committee this year. So like, are these 13 people going to like us? It's like, so there's no way. You have no way of knowing. Like that, I like that part of it from college football. It's like in the BCS era, you could kind of figure out like, okay, like if you do this, like you can kind of get a feel for like, okay, the computers like this, they don't like this, margin of victory, strike the schedule, all this stuff. But it's like, there is a lot of eye tests. There is a lot of ambiguity to all this. And like, that's just what it's going to be. It's 13 people's opinions, and whether they like you or not, like, yes, the metrics inform some of it, but like, we don't know. And maybe you get lucky and you win a game that everyone thought you should have lost, and the committee kind of like docks you for it, sort of like, we don't really respect that win. You don't know. So the short answer to your question is, I have no idea. The long answer, we'll see. It depends on there's a lot of like dynamics in the room. Like coaches have generally, based on people that I've talked to for the 13 years, whatever, 10 years we've had this committee, coaches have kind of carried the conversation in the room because they just seem to have a little bit more of a bigger personality. And so like, if you've got coaches from the conference that respect the SEC more, like I think that's part of it. Like it's very there's no real answer to that question.
David Ubben from The Athletic. Appreciate his time. A great conversation with him, especially saying South Carolina is a sleeper for next year to make the college football playoff. Sounds pretty fun to me. Coming up next, though, it's the early game morning meeting. First day of practices today. This is a day in which many people in the sport get their welcome to college football moment. I asked a bunch of players yesterday what their welcome to college football moments were, and we'll hear from some of them coming up next.
Wow, what a play. The Game Network. Columbia, Charleston, Florence, and Myrtle Beach.
Powered by Integrated Media. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. Shepherd's Glass. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at HerndonChevy.com.
Preston here for our friends at Absolute Glass, the premier glass company of the Midlands, offering auto, home, and business glass repair. If the glass is damaged, shattered, cracked, or broken, they can handle the job. If it's a cracked windshield, that's no problem. They'll come out to your location, and they'll give you a free quote for any job. That's right. They'll come out to wherever you are. School, homework, it does not matter. Absolute Glass will come out to you, and they'll take care of the job for you. Now, if you're at home, you're looking to increase the value of your home, Absolute Glass can take care of that for you, too. Windows, mirrors, shower enclosures. You say it all the time. If you can see through it, Ray and Marianne at Absolute Glass can do it. So check them out online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com. That's online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com.
This is Larry Leitner, owner and founder of Midstate Roofing, and for nearly 30 years, we've continued to be the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. Midstate Roofing's proven history is your assurance that our professionals at Midstate Roofing will provide the proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility in a manner both safe and pleasing to your operation. From high-rise to hospitals, manufacturing to industrial, Midstate Roofing designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee that will keep your operation dry and running long into the future. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And this is Blake Leitner, reminding you to protect that roof with a maintenance contract. Call me today at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. That's midstateroofing.com.
You'll speak to an on-call technician after hours or a Midstate Roofing staff member during hours at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. And as always, tell them Midstate Twins.
If you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
Hi, I'm Lisa Hostetler Brown. Are you concerned about aging parents? Our life care planning services address legal, financial, and care concerns. Whether you want to be proactive or you're in the middle of navigating care, let us help you help them. You aren't alone in this. Visit lawyerlisa.com/care to see how our planning can help your family.
7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina.
Download to see if you qualify. Not all customers will qualify. Transfer fees may apply. No Albert subscription required. Albert is not a bank. Albert Instant Loans are issued by FinWise Bank, member FDIC. Not an actual client. Terms apply.
Kylie, what's wrong? I just got hit with a car repair bill. I'm behind on rent, and I feel like I can never save any money.
Have you tried the Albert app? Albert is your financial assistant, helping you find ways to save and create custom budgets to actually grow your money. Plus, you can get up to $10,000 for big expenses, or advance up to $1,000 fast when you need cash right away.
Albert can get me up to $10,000?
Exactly. Albert spots you in a pinch and helps you grow your money in the long run.
I'm downloading Albert right now.
Download the Albert app and use promo code GAIN to borrow up to $10,000 for whatever you need. The Albert app helps you budget better and save more money so you reach your financial goals faster. Download the Albert app right now and use promo code GAIN to borrow up to $10,000. Use code GAIN to borrow up to $10,000.
Discover the Griffin difference. Turn these scorching summer days into unforgettable memories with a beautiful custom pool from Griffin Pools and Spas. Whether it's family fun, weekend cookouts, or relaxing after a long day, your dream backyard starts with us. Stop sweating through another summer and start making a splash in your own backyard. Call Griffin Pools and Spas today and let us build the backyard you've always imagined.
Griffin Pools and Spas. We make you feel good.
It's the Game Network Traffic Report from the Schroeder's Towing Traffic Center. Broken down and need a tow or even free signage for your lot? Dial pound 250 and use keyword tow truck today.
I-20 eastbound at North Main Street, the only accident we have to report right now, so we're very happy about that. And your forecast, not too bad. Partly sunny today, a high of 91, 92 tomorrow, 94 on Sunday. Have still a little bit of patchy dense fog out there, and it's currently 71.
The Early Game with former Gamecock Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen on the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and the Game TV radio on YouTube.
First day of practice. This is where a lot of college football players get their welcome to college football moment. I decided to ask a lot of Gamecock players yesterday what their welcome to college football moment was, and we'll hear what they had to say for today's morning meeting.
Good morning. Good morning. Repeat after me. Today will be an awesome day.
You already know.
Let's go.
Good morning, great day. Today will be an awesome day. Good morning, great day. Today will be an awesome day.
Now, for some players, it's the first practice. What you'll hear from some of these guys is it was their first practice where they got to learn the hard way what being a college football player is like. But for some, it happens during a game, right? You have smooth practices. Then you get into a game and something happens. I was talking to Caleb Herring yesterday, edge rusher, transfer from Tennessee. And this will be cut 26, Jen. This is Caleb Herring talking about his welcome to CFB moment, and it may or may not have happened here at Williams-Brice.
Yeah, I did. It's actually against South Carolina my first round. I'm not going to say who did it. But it happened. Remember I was running down on kickoff. They just ran down. Like, the ball wasn't even returned or nothing. But I was running. They say, I just took the blind side, got blindsided. Flew, did like a little barrel roll, got back up. I thought, talking mess to him. I was like, all right, man, I'm going to see you again. They say, I did it again, but I forgot. Did it again, got hit again. Then I remember I got back up the second time. I was like, dang, like my arm kind of numb and stuff. Went over to the sideline. Yeah, I was just like, man, like I gotta be more aware. And yeah, that was more of like my welcome to college football moment. But I'm not gonna say who did it, but it was somebody from this.
He says somebody here. Now, no, won't say you did it.
Can't give him that much pleasure.
But he got popped here at Willie V on 2 different kickoffs.
Yeah, because he forgot. It happened the first time, and he's like, oh, yeah, I forgot that could happen again.
That guy's going to be on the field again.
That sounds about right.
Also, love that guy.
Cool.
So much fun to talk to. Caleb Herring, very fun to talk to. Justin Okoronkwo's played a lot of college football. His first practices just so happened to be at Alabama, where he's playing against NFL offensive linemen. This will be cut 40, Jen. Here's Justin Okoronkwo's welcome to college football moments.
In my freshman season, yes, for sure. So I definitely had one in the game, but I also had one just in practice. I think it was like spring practices when I just got, it was like an outside zone run and pretty much got reach and pancake, I would say, by a first round draft pick. So, I mean, definitely happens as like a freshman and you're not used to it, but it was definitely one of them. And then the other one was just running down on kickoff, full speed, just hitting somebody. And I mean, I felt it in my head a little. So that was definitely one of the other moments, yeah.
Noticing kickoff as a trend here a lot.
Yeah, because the thing is, you don't practice live kickoff a lot during practice, so it's not necessarily live. So you just run down, and it's like, oh, I'm so fast. I'm going to make the play. And you forget that the other team can actually hit you.
Right.
Because you don't really practice that a lot. And that is, you probably would hear that as a theme often.
I had a feeling Justin was going to have something to do with facing off against an future NFL offensive lineman at Alabama.
First rounder?
Yeah, a first rounder. Yeah, figured that was probably going to end up being the case, and getting pancaked by a future NFL first round pick is quite the welcome to college football moment. So that was Justin Okoronkwo. Now another first practice story. This one is cut 43, Jen. This is from never nervous Hank Purvis, who might have been a little nervous during his first college football practice because this happened.
When I got into practice, my first welcome to college moment, it was probably my first scout team period, and I'm on the scout team. We had this defensive end named Antonio Doyle, and he ran through my face. So I think that was pretty much my welcome to college moment. So,
ran through my face. Anytime someone say, they ran through my face, I can imagine that did not feel very good.
Yeah, because you're on scout team, and that's actually your job, is to get your face ran through, because you are just a meat package.
Yeah.
You're a live human dummy out
You're
there.
a pinata.
Yes.
That is what you were
That is the job description of scout team, to be a meat shield for the other team to beat up on.
We don't have time to play it today, but while I was talking to Hank Purvis about, how the offensive line is kind of gelling, how you're building chemistry, with all the transfer portal players, he did refer to the unit as the fat guys. And I was like, I like this guy. He's got it. Football guy, Hank Purvis. Another one, too, Drew Collins, another one of my favorite players to talk to yesterday. Drew Collins, well-traveled. I think this was during his days at Arkansas State. I asked him about his welcome to college football moment. This one also includes the roasting that happens after. This will be cut 47.
I don't believe it was in fall camp. It probably was in the spring. I think I thought it was just like in high school, I could just run in the backfield and make a play, and a guard came around and just almost knocked my helmet off. And then I think I laid there for a little bit, regretted my decisions, and then I knew I was going to be in the highlight of the team meeting, and they showed me the video, and then they were like, that's your welcome to college right there. But as far as in the game, I don't think I've had like a just welcome to college moment in the game.
In the practice, did it hurt worse on the play or having to watch it back?
Having to watch it back.
Audience? Having
to watch it back, have your teammates laughing at you, your coach with the laser pointer, he just keeps circling, keep looking back, and then they just keep coming back and showing that video. No matter how, it could be 2 months down the line, they can show it. Remember when? And it's just like, you know what I'm saying? But we laugh about it now.
Well, for sure. Is there a coach that you've had that's the best roaster of people in a film session?
One of my, I think he's like a GA, Coach Hub. He likes to joke all the time. He He gonna talk about you, he gonna laugh about you, he gonna pull up videos, but we all go back and forth in our position room, and we like to have fun in there as we're getting the job done. So, yeah, I'll say him.
I think the worst part is having to watch it over, and everybody's watching you.
Yeah, because you know it's coming. You know that you did this specific thing and it happened to you at practice, and you have to relive that trauma again in front of your position group. And if it was bad enough in front of the whole team, replay, rewind, slow-mo, highlight, expand, whatever you can do.
The laser pointer. Everybody's watching where that laser pointer is.
Over and over and over again. That is part of the roasting that has to happen.
The funniest part is that it doesn't matter how long into the season it is. Your teach tape for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Sorry, Drew. Your teach tape for the rest of the year.
Yeah, because coaches, I think they get bored with their time. You might have like just a folder of like, oh, this is the folder where Preston Thorne gets blown up. Or just pull that tape. You just pull it up and we all laugh at it. I mean, yeah, you get used to it. But that early in your career, it's like, oh my God.
What have I signed up for?
What happened?
This is a public humiliation ritual. Now, maybe my favorite one, because I could almost tell there was like maybe some PTSD in his eyes here from this. This is Jaden Sellers. Not something that happened in a practice, but something that I think it's a play that I think Gamecock fans remember. This will be cut 50, Jen. Here's Jaden Sellers' welcome to college football moment.
I did versus Oklahoma. It was my first game starting, you know what I'm saying? And basically I was starting in front of me. So I was nervous out my mind, sweating, doing all that stuff. But game started, the game was going on, everything was going smooth. But it was like third quarter, fourth quarter, and I had like a choice route, and I chose to go outside. The coach told me like make sure you read it right. The dude sat, so I'm really supposed to sit down. But I guess like I don't know what I seen. I just seen open grass, so I went out. I caught the ball. As soon as I turned around, all I remember was my legs was above my face mask, and like my shoulder had like a burning, like it was just burning. Everybody was saying, ooh. I was just like, man, let me get out of here, man, before I get myself hurt.
I remember that play where he caught it, and before he had a chance to turn around, he got popped. And he did not hesitate. When I asked that question, I could immediately see the flashback going on in his eyes.
He knew exactly what he did. And the coaches just say, that's why you got to do the assignment right.
That's why you sit on that route.
That's why you did it wrong. And that's the teach tape. See, and you just keep rewinding his feet going above his head. See.
When we say sit on this route, this is why we say sit on this route. Here's what happens when you don't, because that safety will decapitate you.
There you go. Teach
every
tape.
Time. Jaden Sellers had to learn a lesson the hard way. He'll remember that one forever.
Stick your finger in the outlet. Only going to do it once.
Correct.
That's right. That's a one-time thing.
Correct. That stove is hot.
That's it. Touch the hot stove, and you're going to find out why we tell you not to touch the hot stove. That's the early game morning meeting. Coming up next, though, We're going to continue Preston Thorne's fan exercise. One last criteria before we get to the decision in the third hour of the show. What's Preston Thorne's preference for special teams? We'll find out next.
Wow, what a play. The Game Network. Columbia, Charleston, Florence, and Myrtle Beach.
We love to hear your opinion. Go to @1075 The Game on Twitter X and participate in our polls. Our Twitter X polls sponsored by IntelliSystems. Schedule a cyber audit today at IntelliSystems.com.
Now, this isn't a welcome to CFB story, but this is a welcome to 7th grade story. We're on roll call of day 1. My teacher calls my name out, and I go, here, and everybody laughs, and I got roasted all year. It was not a clean delivery on the roll call for me, but you can give your home a clean, fresh look for the new school year, because with all the new backpacks and new schedules and new routines, your home needs a new start too, and Zero Res Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning is here to provide that fresh start for your home, including a deal that's got 3 rooms of insanely clean carpets, plus a free hallway done for just $109. It's the perfect way to get your home a fresh start and give the air that you breathe a little bit of a fresher help too. With the professional air duct cleaning from Zero Res, you can save $75 on that this month as well. Take advantage of that zero water technology, leaving nothing but clean carpets that stay cleaner for longer. Book online at ZeroResColumbia.com today.
By AutoZone. Starting stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement. Batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Hey, this is Paul Romenstein, proud owner of Midlands Landscape and Lawns, here today with my 2 sons.
Hey, I'm Blake Romenstein. Midlands Landscape and Lawns is a family-owned business rooted right here in the Midlands for over 30 years.
And I'm Braden Romenstein. We're not just local, we're your neighbors, and we're going to take care of you like you live next door.
From residential landscaping to hardscape design and installation to maintenance and everything in between. Call or visit Midlands Landscape and Lawns today at midlandslandscape.com.
When it comes to family law, a lot has changed in recent years, so assumptions can be costly. If you see or sense a change coming in your family life that could have legal implications, it's important to know where you stand. What are your rights and responsibilities? Getting good legal advice early is never a bad idea. I'm Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. If you or anyone you know is facing a family law issue, start with a consultation. Visit CordellCordell.com.
1201 Main Street, Columbia. Want to unlock the power of athlete marketing to grow your business? Garnet Trust has recently launched a business membership program, making it easier than ever for your business to work directly with a USC student athlete. Visit GarnetTrust.com today or call 803-250-1765 to see your business boom.
Download to see if you qualify. Not all customers will qualify. Transfer fees may apply. No Albert subscription required. Albert is not a bank. Albert Instant Loans are issued by FinWise Bank, member FDIC. Not an actual client. Terms apply.
Kylie, what's wrong? I just got hit with a car repair bill. I'm behind on rent, and I feel like I can never save any money.
Have you tried the Albert app? Albert is your financial assistant, helping you find ways to save and create custom budgets to actually grow your money. Plus, you can get up to $10,000 for big expenses or advance up to $1,000 fast when you need cash right away.
Albert can get me up to $10,000?
Exactly. Albert spots you in a pinch and helps you grow your money in the long run.
I'm downloading Albert right now.
Download the Albert app and use promo code GAIN to borrow up to $10,000 for whatever you need. The Albert app helps you budget better and save more money so you reach your financial goals faster. Download the Albert app right now and use promo code GAIN to borrow up to $10,000. Use code GAIN to borrow up to $10,000.
The U.S. Soccer Podcast. I'm your host, Megan Klingenberg, and after interviewing so many dudes during this Men's World Cup, I'm so happy to be back with my U.S. Women's National Team players.
I know the U.S. Men's National Team has changed how I think about myself, how I think about being an American, how I think about being on a team.
It's 1 year out from that World Cup, and we're going to talk about the brightest prospects in U.S. soccer. You ready? I'm ready. Let's do it.
The U.S. Soccer Podcast, presented by Henco. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Powered by Integrated Media. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. Shepherd's Glass. It's the Game Network Traffic Report from the Schroeder's Towing Traffic Center. Broken down and need a tow or even free signage for your lot? Dial pound 250 and use keyword tow truck today.
Just have one report of an accident, and that's Highway 321 at Busby Road. And the forecast, we'll see some sunshine later on today once the bits of fog burn off. A high of 91, clouds and sun tomorrow and Sunday. 92 tomorrow, 94 on Sunday. Right now, again, still a little bit of scattered fog out there. It's 71 on 107.5 The Game.
The Early Game. With former Gamecocks Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen. On the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and at the Game TV radio on YouTube.
Before we get one step closer to the decision, no, it's not LeBron saying he's going to take his talents to South Beach. I don't think Preston Thorne's going to take his fandom to South Beach, but it is one step closer to Preston Thorne finding his favorite NFL team. We will go out to the AAA Heating and Air phone lines first because Scott is on the line. Good morning, Scott. Welcome to the early game.
Good morning, guys. You know, y'all were talking about that war room and them after practice, after game videos and everything, and I'm just curious after last night, how much you think Pickett and Hurts are going to be a little bit worried about that performance King put on, the walk-on from Georgia Tech that lit it up with 3 touchdowns and ran his butt off to win that game last night in the final seconds.
Oh, I hope so. I hope so. If you're Kenny Pickett, you shouldn't feel comfortable, brother. You're in team number 4 in 5 years. You should not be comfortable. Not after Haynes King did that. And also knowing what we know about Haynes King in college. Because what's the saying, Preston Thorne?
We don't know if he's a quarterback, but he's a dog.
And he had that dog in him. Honestly, Haynes King made every throw in that game last night except for one. He had a wide open touchdown. He just overthrew the receiver. But almost every other throw he made last night, he was on the money.
And to be honest, this is the whole reason why we kept laughing at the idea that Jacoby Brissett was holding out at Arizona, because I firmly believe that that's going to happen, right?
With my chest.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm saying right now, by week 6.
Week 6?
I'll say by week 6, Carson Beck's taking snaps.
Week 6, Carson Beck will be a starter. Yeah, so that's why we laughed the whole time. Like, why are they letting Jacoby Brissett handle this situation? But you are right, Scott. Those are not teammates. They are employers looking for a job. So that all, like, I'm cheering for this guy, and that's not happening
Absolutely
in the NFL.
Not. No. Kenny Pickett was watching that game last night going, damn.
Yeah.
God, this guy's playing too good. Yeah. In the next segment, we're going to be taking a way too serious look at the Hall of Fame game because we are so football starved that any football game we can actually talk about, we're going to talk about. I don't think the Panthers or the Cardinals are going to be one of Preston Thorne's favorite teams, but we do have one more exercise here, one more tier to get to before Preston makes his decision. One last data point here. And this is going to come in the form of special teams. So, Preston, I just went and looked at the special teams grades on Pro Football Focus, and Tier 8 is going to be the 4 best special teams units. Tier 1 is the worst special teams units. How much of an importance is being elite at special teams for you?
I think in the NFL there is a level of the margins are so fine that you need to make sure that those special teams are shored up. Whereas in college, I think you can gain major advantages just by having a special teams coach, like, because everybody doesn't necessarily do it. But in the NFL, it's a different idea where the margins are very, very, very thin. And wherever you can gain some extra yards, points, or whatever, you're going to need them. So, yes, they are important. So, that being said, let me get a 7.
You dodged a bullet. Because if you turned it up to 8, you would have gotten the Jets for a 5th time. And I tried so hard to conceal the grin on my face.
Ooh, boy.
So I thought you were getting ready to go there. And you'd have also gotten the Browns. again.
Surprisingly turned up a couple of times, but thankfully dodged those bullets.
And I think it's wise to recognize that because that's kind of, I believe, what happened to you last year with Atlanta.
Yes.
And then you kind of got in that, and that was not a happy experience.
It was interesting.
Yes.
It was a very interesting visit to a foreign land.
A wild ride. Now, the teams that you did select in Tier 7, the Detroit Lions.
All right.
The San Francisco 49ers, the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Seattle Seahawks.
Okay.
Now, the Seahawks, that is match number 6 for the Seahawks. Clearly the most. That is match number 3 for the Chiefs. When it comes to the Lions, that is only match number 2. I know you were wanting to see a little bit more of the Detroit Lions. And for the 49ers.
Not many, if any.
Not many. Is that the first one?
It might be.
That's the second one.
Yeah.
Looking on my sheet here, that is match number 2 with the San Francisco 49ers. But special teams is one of those things. You don't want them to be bad, so I'm sure anything below 5 was not something you're going to pick. But in terms of emphasis, I don't know if many people are like, they're my favorite team because I was a huge Morton Anderson fan. Man, I love the Chiefs not because of, Priest Holmes back in the day, but I really loved watching Dustin Colquitt punt.
Yeah, the kicking position is tough because there's very few of them that a fan base loves because we always just tend to remember the kicks that they miss, right?
And most teams have a revolving door at the kicker position.
And they just keep bringing in guys, and the guys misses, and then they get a new one. I mean, that was the situation with the Falcons last year. Wei Young Q?
Yeah, Young Wei Q.
He was much ballyhooed and he celebrated up until last year.
One of the highest paid kickers in the NFL, too.
It all fell apart several times in several stops last year. And the most infamous kick.
It started with the missed field goal in Week 1 against the Buccaneers that cost them a win, which would have got them into the playoffs. And it ended with him burying his toe underneath the turf at Gillette Stadium on Monday Night Football. A play so funny that it forced a man watching that game into having a seizure where it was eventually revealed that he had a tumor in his brain, and then it saved his life. A play so funny, it saved a man's life. Can't remember when it was. We talked about that when that story came out.
That was crazy.
But that was the season Young Wei Koo had last year.
Tough spot. But he was known as a great kicker. So much that the fans, when I entered Falcon fandom, that was one of the things we had going for us.
He was a fan favorite. Because he felt automatic.
Not the case anymore.
And that can turn around so fast. When I was in Nashville working, Derek Mason, former Titans receiver, Ravens receiver, he was on the show that I produced, and he would always say kickers aren't football players.
Mm-hmm. That's a common refrain.
Are you in that train? Kickers football players too?
It very much depends, but I'm trying to grow and be more progressive in my thinking, so I'm going to be inclusive of the kickers. But, yes, there is a very strong strain of, kickers aren't football players. I do have that running through my brain a little bit.
That thought process is pretty heavy.
Yeah, it's just because at practice, man, they're over there doing some silly kicking game. That doesn't look as hard as what everybody – they're like, oh, I can kick the crossbar or whatever they're doing over there. And it's like –
I was going to say, they're having fun, and you're not having fun.
Yeah, but – If you knew what we all know, you got to treat those guys right because they are important.
Because they can win you a game, they could lose it too.
Yeah.
Ultimately, you have to you at least have some type of trust in them when they're lining up for a field goal with 3 seconds left to try to win you that game.
You need to.
Makes that maybe the most unique position in all of sports. I don't know if there's a position in sports that has so much pressure with so little physical practice work.
That's the thing, man. They are practicing. They're just not doing the same practice that everybody else is doing.
They're not blocking. They don't have to. I mean, you probably should tackle a little bit, but you don't want your kicker getting tackled on a kickoff because they're trying to tackle somebody and now they can't play.
Our starting kicker got hurt during tackling drills. That's a fireable offense.
That is a fireable offense.
I was going to say, then you're looking down the barrel of an 0-12 season,
Gamecocks are supposed to be lining up for a 30-yard field goal for the win here, but the only kicker on the roster
is the coach.
Is your tight end who hasn't kicked a field goal in 6 years when he was in high school, and now they have to throw to the end zone.
Can't do that, man.
Yeah, that one wouldn't go over particularly well. Coming up next, though, there was a Hall of Fame game last night. Haynes King is a dog, and Preston and I are going to take that game that is a completely unserious by nature way too seriously. We'll do that next.
Wow, what a play. The Game Network. Columbia, Charleston, Florence, and Myrtle Beach.
Hey, this is Jen from 107.5 The Game and The Game Network. If you run a diner, a bakery, a coffee shop, burger joint, or a pizza spot, or that hidden gem everybody should know about, how would you like to get the word out about your business without spending a dime? We got you. All you have to do is text your name, your business, and your phone number to 803-404-6100, and we'll be in touch. There's no catch. Times are tough, and we're here just trying to help you get folks in the door of your business.
This is a Westwood One Sports Minute.
Sponsored by Metal Supermarkets, the convenience stores for metal. Find a store at metalsupermarkets.com. Detroit Lions running back Jahmyr Gibbs signed a record-breaking 3-year contract extension worth $67.5 million, maxing out at $75.75 million with incentives. The deal resets the market to make Gibbs the NFL's highest-paid running back. Wow. I'm Addie Bates.
When you've got real work to do, Metal Supermarkets will help you get it done fast. With a huge variety of metals in stock, we can help no matter what job comes your way. And all it takes is a few clicks. We make buying metal online easy so you can spend less time shopping and more time getting things done. Metal Supermarkets, the convenience stores for metal. Place an order online today at metalsupermarkets.com.
Oh, hey, Sarah. Did you hear my daughter Katie got Camper of the Week?
That's a big deal.
We got a big deal too, right, Mom?
Honey, shh.
What's that?
Okay, that Hyundai Santa Fe, I only paid.
Nice.
Deal so right, it almost feels wrong. The Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Get 0% APR for 60 months, plus 0 payments for 90 days, or 1.9% APR for 72 months on the Hyundai Tucson, Tucson Plug-in Hybrid, Santa Fe, or Santa Fe Hybrid during the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Offers end September 8th. Call 562-314-4603 for details.
To make exercise a habit, find something you enjoy, like shopping. It counts as a workout when it's Kohl's Active Sale. Get 20% off across the store and 25% off top active brands for feeling your best. Plus, enjoy a sales tax holiday in South Carolina. Adding to your cart is pretty much cardio, right? Find out at Kohl's. Select styles. 25% offer ends August 15th. 20% offer ends August 16th. Exclusions apply. See store or kohls.com for details.
Surprise. Wait, do I know you? You use your Discover Cashback card to earn 5% cashback on restaurants all quarter. Yeah. Now, it's payback time. Whoa, hold on. Go ahead.
Oh, you mean my Discover Cashback.
I told you there'd be payback.
You know, you have a weird way of delivering good news.
I'm working on that.
Activate and earn 5% cash back at different categories each quarter on up to $1,500 in purchases.
Terms apply. See discover.com/5 for details.
Life matters. Today, Life Matters is mostly personal stuff because I just want to take a minute to say thanks to some of the greatest people in the world, the Christian Life Church family. My family moved here 12 years ago knowing almost no one, and these folks welcomed us and made us part of their family. We have never been loved and helped like we have by the good folks of Christian Life. I must tell you that none of us is perfect or sinless. In fact, we wouldn't know what to do with perfect folks. We're a community of people who are on our way to heaven together, struggling to learn how to be good parents, good citizens, and good neighbors. By the way, there's room for you to join us. You'll be treated just as special as I was. This is Stephen Chitty, pastor of Christian Life on Bush River Road. Visit us on the web at christianlifecolumbia.com. And remember, life matters, and so do you.
With former Gamecock Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen on the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and at the Game TV radio on YouTube.
There was a football game played last night in Canton, Ohio, between the Panthers and the Cardinals. And the Panthers win the first game of the football season. Now, it doesn't count for the actual records, but it is a football game in the NFL's 2026 season calendar.
Shout out to my brother Langston Moore. That 0-16 team did go undefeated in the preseason that year.
I love that.
Just a little note. Here's the thing about the Hall of Fame game. It's a very thin line between am I going to make this team or am I not going to make this team? If you play too much in the Hall of Fame game, you're not going to make the team.
Probably not.
If you don't play at all, you might not make the team either. So there's a really thin line of like
mixed messaging.
Yeah. Am I getting, because if you get too many snaps, that means they're just using a body. They just need a body out there with a number, which is cool. You did play in an NFL game. That's awesome. But also, if you don't play at all, that means you're way down on the depth chart and they don't care.
You were just a body for practice.
Yes.
You were a pinata.
That is a very thin line that a lot of those dudes were facing out there last night.
But one dude I think actually has earned him a little bit of playing time for the rest of the preseason, Haynes King. The man who scored the touchdown as time expired in that game, scrambled for a touchdown as time expired in that game. If we're going to take this way too seriously,
yep.
I don't know if Haynes King's a good quarterback, but I do know two things. He's a dog, and he's taking Kenny Pickett's spot as the backup.
I would 100% agree with that. Kenny Pickett is in what, year 4 now?
I think 5.
Oh,
yes,
he's in year
5.
And this is when it becomes a money game. This is a diminishing returns. Would I pay this 5th-year guy what the veteran minimum is, or do I pay this first-year dude with the rookie minimums? There's a big delta between those two salaries, and if the 5th-year guy's not that good anyway, why would you keep him? I would expect Kenny Pickett to get cut.
Absolutely. What's the point of keeping? There's no upside.
And a lot of teams don't even keep 3 quarterbacks, so
I'd much rather have Haynes King, because you know what I know Haynes King's going to do? He's going to put his body on the line. That man is not afraid to take a hit. And if he throws the ball as accurately as he did last night, because he threw a couple of really accurate passes. He ran the 2-minute drill really well at the end of the first half, clearly did it at the end of the game to win it. He's just such a dog, dude. I don't think Kenny Pickett has any of that dog in him at all.
No.
There is no metric to be able to back that up, but if you watch the game, one guy's got it, the other doesn't.
Yeah, if you think no information can be gleaned from it, I really do think that was an information, and that was the Panthers side. And we also said that on the Cardinals side. I mean, I think I could have said that, but you've already said week 6, Carson Beck starting, because it goes back to why would I take on this guy who has this much X amount of contract, or this guy who has a lot lower contract as mandated, when there's not much of a difference in performance?
And Carson
seems
Beck
like a simple choice.
He played fine last night. 15 for 19, 188 yards, a touchdown.
Oh, yeah, and also we're not going to be that good this year anyway.
Yeah, and if you look at, I guess, the schedule to start the year, they have to go to the Chargers. I think they're losing that. They're hosting the Seahawks, going to lose that. At the 49ers, probably going to lose that. They're at the Giants. Don't know if that's a win or a loss yet. Play the Lions at home. It should be
a loss.
Should be a loss. And then they're at the Rams. So that's the first 6 games.
1-5?
So I think, week 6, maybe Carson Beck gets inserted into the game when they're down 30-3 in that game. And then, he does a couple things in the second half well. And then by the time they play the Broncos at home, week 7, maybe full-time starter. By week 6, Carson Beck will be in the game. At some point in that game against the Rams, I think he's going to be getting action.
Yeah, because you can't start the season saying, hey, fans, your starting quarterback this year is Jacoby Brissett.
Oh, yeah, and he basically
not in 2026.
Held out all summer in OTAs.
Come on, man.
That guy held our franchise hostage.
Who would be a fine backup quarterback.
That's his role.
He would be an excellent backup quarterback. Now, if you have Jacoby Brissett as your backup quarterback, now your room is a lot better.
Good. You feel good about that. I don't know if this guy's going to play for the Panthers at all, but I did find it really heartwarming last night that the Panthers' leading rusher was a guy named Miles Davis.
Okay. All right.
It was groovy.
Nice. Nice.
Every time, Mike Tirico called it. I don't know.
But I bet he's smooth.
He's very smooth. Utah State. And every time he carried the ball last night, all I could think of was that scene from Billy Madison where the woman on the field trip goes, if peeing in your pants is cool, then consider me Miles Davis.
Okay.
Good film. A lot of context needed for that, but you have to go back and watch it.
Oh, yeah.
But Miles Davis, 4 carries, 53 yards, a smooth 13.3 yards per carry.
his parents have to be fans, right?
Have to be.
You can't just not. You got to be aware that this is happening.
Let's just say they're not contemporaries. This Miles Davis and the Miles Davis are not contemporaries. This Miles Davis was born in January of 2002.
Yeah, I imagine how many, like jazz cats walk up to him like, "Hey man, how you feel about Conda Blue?" He's like, "I never heard of it."
So what are you talking about? Huh?
How'd you feel about the Electric Miles era? And they're like, what?
I said, I know about Blue's Clues. I don't know about all that.
Maybe.
Actually, maybe. Is 2002 past the Blue's Clues window?
The windows close quick.
Those windows do really close quick. Before we get out of here, too, Panthers, my pick to win the NFC South.
Ooh.
And that's nothing to do with last night, but we're taking this way too seriously. Hour number 3 is coming up next. We're talking about practice.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at herndonchevy.com.
Sponsored by SC Education Lottery. Did you know that since 2002, more than 2.8 million lottery-funded scholarships such as the Life, Hope, and Palmetto Fellow scholarships have been awarded to South Carolina students? Playing for fun is a win for education. Visit SCEducationLottery.com/educationwins for more information.
Powered by Integrated Media, the Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia, the Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass.
Elijah Campbell from The Game here, and so is back to school. New schedules, new routines. Now give your home a fresh start with 3 rooms of insanely clean carpets plus a free hallway for just $109. Plus save $75 on air duct cleaning. Look today at ZRSColumbia.com.
When it comes to family law, a lot has changed in recent years, so assumptions can be costly. If you see or sense a change coming in your family life that could have legal implications, it's important to know where you stand. What are your rights and responsibilities? Getting good legal advice early is never a bad idea. I'm Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. If you or anyone you know is facing a family law issue, start with a consultation. Visit CordellCordell.com.
1201 Main Street, Columbia.
Hendrick.
The most trusted name in automotive is right here in Columbia. Hendrick Chevrolet and Hendrick GMC. Car buyers across Columbia keep coming back to Hendrick for a larger selection, better pricing, and an easier buying experience. Plus, buy now and make no payments for 3 months. The nation's #1 dealer group is right here in Columbia. Hendrick Chevrolet and Hendrick GMC. Experience the Hendrick difference. With approved credit, see dealer for details.
Right now, somewhere in America, a student is training, a student is studying, a student is working when nobody is watching. Not for recognition, not for attention, but because excellence is a habit. The 2026 Patriot Games are searching for exceptional students ages 14 to 17. Students ready to compete, ready to lead, ready to show America what they're capable of. $250,000 scholarship prize pool. Applications are open now. Your story, your opportunity, your moment. Applications now open. Freedom250.org. America's next champion could be you.
It's the Hendrick Chevrolet Countdown to Kickoff. 29 days away.
Hendrick.
The most trusted name in automotive is right here in Columbia. Hendrick Chevrolet and Hendrick GMC. Buy now and make no payments for 3 months. Shop the nation's #1 dealer group. Hendrick Chevrolet and Hendrick GMC. With approved credit, see dealer for details.
We love to hear your opinion. Go to @1075 The Game on Twitter X and participate in our polls. Our Twitter X polls sponsored by IntelliSystems. Schedule a cyber audit today at IntelliSystems.com.
We can secure our world. When it's time to update an app, don't you hesitate. Do it ASAP.
Just like that. Learn how software updates can protect you at CISA.gov/secure our world.
It's the Game Network Traffic Report from the Schroeder's Towing Traffic Center. Broken down and need a tow or even free signage for your lot? Dial pound 250 and use keyword tow truck today.
Highway 321 at Busby Road, an accident there. And aside from that, really, traffic's been moving fairly well this morning. A slowdown, I-26 eastbound from about exit 101 to I-20. But aside from, again, just the typical slowdowns, no significant slowdowns due to accidents. So we love that, and I hope it stays that way this morning. We're looking for a high today of 91, 92 tomorrow, 94. For your Sunday. Clouds will be coming in as the or sun will be coming out after we get rid of all the clouds and fog this morning. 72 currently.
Your home for the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. WNKT Eastover, Columbia. A Cumulus media station. The Early Game. With former Gamecock Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen on the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and at the Game TV radio on YouTube.
Hour number 3 of the early game starts right now. The early game, third and long hour. I'm Elijah Campbell. He's Preston Thorne. She's Jen Jensen. Our man Thomas is back in the video production room here at Studio 803. And before we get into anything that Shane Beamer said at South Carolina's Media Day yesterday over at the practice facility, Preston, I have to ask a question. I was tasked with asking you a question. And I cannot reveal why because that would ruin the experiment.
Okay.
If you had to pick what the Lou Holtz practice story is, not just a Lou Holtz practice story, what is the Lou Holtz practice story?
That's really difficult. That's having an encyclopedia of stories in my brain. The Lou Holtz practice story. I don't know, man. That's honestly, I could choose from 1,000. You know, like there's always the stop the clock. He tells the people to stop the periods and doesn't ever restart them. And so we're just out there practicing. Untimed, and everybody's nervous to tell him, like, hey, coach, we need there's that. Starting practice over maybe 7 or 8 periods into practice. That's roughly 30 or 45 minutes into practice. Him starting it all over from the stretch lines, like coming back out and stretching. People getting kicked out of practice. I've been kicked out of practice several. I mean, there's a bunch of Lou Holtz stories for sure.
What did you get kicked out of practice for?
I mean, you just get. That's the thing. You never know. You just got to stay on your toes, man.
Were you lollygagging?
Missed an assignment. Not running the right play, going the wrong. I don't know, man. It could be anything.
It could be a lot of things.
It could be whatever, man. Yeah. Somebody else getting kicked out of practice. Yes. Stuff's happening all the time.
A lot of stuff's happening.
all the time.
Think someone's getting kicked out of practice today?
I don't know if we do this anymore.
That practice, I don't know if kicking people out of practice?
Yeah. Well, it's the practice where you kick them out and then you bring them back in, right? You get out and then you come back in. I don't know if we do that because there's a lot of wasted time and motion, and we're here more for efficiency these days. But truly, the college, if the last time you played or practiced football is high school, the college practice is a marvel because there's so many people moving at so many different times. If you have any type of ADHD or ADD going on, it's going to be very difficult to focus on anything because there's music, there's whistles, there's yelling, running, drills happening over here. It's a lot of things happening at the same time.
That's how I would get kicked out of practice.
Just paying attention to something else. Squirrel!
Hey, is that Steely Dan being played over there? When do we put that in the rotation? That's great. Elijah, get on the ball. Oh, hey, sorry. And then get out of practice. Mm-hmm. Now, if you want to read some just wild getting kicked out of practice stories, I highly implore you to read Season on the Brink.
Bob Knight.
Bob Knight kicked Steve Alford out of practices so many times that eventually Steve Alford would go into the locker room and just stand right there by the door, and he could almost time when the trainers would come back in to tell him to go back out because he summoned him again because he knew the drill.
Classic.
He's going to get kicked out of practice.
Good old classics.
Whether it was his fault or not, he's getting kicked out of practice, and then he's going to be summoned back shortly after. It's
good stuff.
And then one day he did actually, I believe, if I remember this correctly in the book, one day he actually did leave. He did get so fed up. He was like, I'm actually going to leave. He kicks me out. All right, he kicks me out. I'm leaving.
Yeah, I mean, this is not the story, but again, we were practicing as a defensive unit, and this one player on the scout team, we could not stop him. That player was Sidney Rice. We could not stop him. And
not just any scout team player, mind you.
Coach Holtz was like, hey, get out. That's it. Practice is over. And he did not expect us to take him up on his offer. And we called it up. And he's like, hey, where you going? It was like, he told us to leave. We tried to leave in this too. And also, we No, nobody's going to eventually be able to stop that guy.
That's the funniest part also is, hey, I am the head coach. You need to take everything I say literally and seriously. And so unless I kick you out of practice, then you got to know that I'm just playing with you.
Just joshing you.
Yeah, I'm just joshing, just a little playful ribbing, because you can't guard the scout team receiver who would eventually go on to play a good amount of time in the National Football League.
Right.
It is one of the greatest receivers in the history of that program.
Correct.
The S in Sydney stands for Scout Team. Sydney ranks.
Imagine that.
Who would have thought? But practice starts today for South Carolina. They're actually going to be putting pads on. They're going to be practicing, and camp starts now. So football is here. Shane Beamer spoke yesterday, and during his opening statement, he said something along the lines of, I believe this football team is better than what it was 250 days ago when we walked off the field after losing to Clemson to end the season. And I wanted to know why. I wanted to dig a little bit deeper as to why he feels so confident that this team is better. I'm glad he does, but I wanted some more specifics. So I asked Coach Beamer why he feels this team is better 250 days later, especially in regards to the players that are returning from last season's team. Here's what Shane had to say.
I think just their conviction since they came back in January. As y'all have heard me say before, Elijah, I mean, there's a lot of guys that easily could be somewhere else right now that were on that team in 2025 that easily could have gone somewhere else, whether it be another college or the NFL, and they all chose to come back. And I love this quote. I've said it with you guys before, but your investment level equals your expectation level. And we have a group of guys that went through some really, really hard stuff in 2025. We're better because of what we went through. We've grown because of what we went through. And because of their investment level, the years they've been in this program, what we went through this past season, there's a high expectation level too. I mean, those guys, yes, they love Columbia and they love being a part of this program, but that ain't the only reason they came back. They came back because I believe they know we can have a really good football team. And that's what I've seen since January is just the work that they've put in, the experience that we have. You know, you look at, I know y'all love depth charts, but if you look at our depth chart last season, there were 4 seniors that started for us. Nick Barrett, my mind's going blank. Nick Barrett, DQ Smith, and Brian Thomas on defense, and I guess just Rasul at running back. 4 seniors. And then if you look at what, we don't have depth charts, we're competing, but if you look at what there's a likelihood of it potentially being, you're looking at triple that this year, the number of seniors that are starting for us. And when you got that kind of experience and that many guys that have played a lot of football, that gives you, a lot of hope for what's to come. Now, there's a lot of work to do, and we're a long ways away from where we need to be.
2 things there I want to start with. The saying of investment level equals expectation level. When you are coming off of a season like that, and the offseason got significantly harder, which is something that Shane talked about in terms of what's different this summer, is that in terms of strength and conditioning program, this is the hardest summer that they've been put through. And I think that kind of speaks to the level of desperation, how important this season is. When you hear Shane say the investment level equals the expectation level in regards to the players that are coming back for this year, where does your mind kind of go when hearing that?
That makes me think of the idea of the newer era of college football, where essentially a lot of teams are full of mercenaries who are there for one stated goal, which is to make as much money as possible, which, again, this is America, Jack, so I have no problem with that. But if that's the only goal, when things start to go left or right or the adversity strikes, it's going to be very difficult for us to figure out why we're all here. Mm-hmm. Because if the only reason I'm here is just for the highest and best offer, then when things go wrong or things get a little bit difficult, or maybe the season's not turning out the way I thought it would, I will easily be going on to the next thing. So that to me is a bonus in the newer era of college football, college sports, period.
Now, when some people can look at this logically or come to a logical conclusion of, I don't know if I want a lot of guys back on a team that couldn't close games last year. But I can look at it the other way, and I do view it, especially if those players are really talented, like that Texas A&M loss, the one that we've talked about all summer, all offseason. Yeah, that was an embarrassing loss. But when you look at that saying right there, investment level equals expectation level, the investment level that the guys that suffered that loss and went through that type of season where you were close in so many games, but you just couldn't close it out, you were never good enough against the better teams in your league. I want a lot of those more talented players back with that chip on their shoulder to be able to prove that they can close it and have another chance at redemption, right? 2026 just feels like a 2025 redemption year because you went in with so many expectations last season. It fell so flat. This is your chance at redemption for guys like Lenore Sellers and for Nick Harbor and Dylan Stewart and Vakari Swain and Peyton Williams. I can go up and down the list of players that were key players on last year's team. They're going to be invested in that not happening again. And they're talented enough to where I can buy into the fact that where it won't happen again. You are good enough for that to not happen. The reason I think so many South Carolina fans were frustrated is because it wasn't the talent level as to why you weren't good last year. It was other factors there. So I think that's why there's an excitement of those guys coming back. But when you look at investment level equaling expectation level, those guys have an investment to not allow that to happen again, but they have the talent level for the expectation to also match that investment too.
Also, people in general, but younger people specifically, have an astounding level of, that wasn't me. Right? So,
not my problem.
That wasn't me. That ain't going to be me. And even though you're telling them the things that are going to happen to them if they keep doing these things, at 19 to 20, 22, you have the feeling of, that ain't going to happen to me. Well, guess what? It did happen to them. And so whenever Shane is harping on some special teams thing or we're trying to get some small detail, he can specifically call back these things, and those players can obviously like, yeah, that was actually me.
It did happen to me.
It did happen. And I do think there's a lot to gain from being able to draw from that experience.
And kind of in that same vein, the second part that I really wanted to hit on was kind of the experience factors too. You heard Shane in that clip talk about last year, if you looked at the depth chart, you would only see 4 seniors starting. Now, guys that did play college football that were starting at other positions might not have been seniors. This year, a difference is you also have some experience coming back, but they are maxed out at their college eligibility, right? You might have up to triple the amount of guys that are considered starters, but they are seniors. They have played 3 full seasons of college football. They have maximized the amount that you can be experienced in the sport going into this season. That tells me a lot too. I think there's a difference to that because there are some mistakes that a team can make in a game that are just young and dumb mistakes, or you haven't faced that type of scenario mistake. If we want to keep using the A&M game as an example, a lot of those guys, while maybe they were well experienced in the sport of college football, maybe never was up 27 points at halftime on the road against a top 3 team in the country and having to take the counter punch that was going to come back. Now they have. It's one thing to say, yeah, you had a season of experience or 2 seasons of experience. By the time you get to 3 full seasons, or in some of these guys' cases, 4, you've seen almost as much as there is to see in this sport.
Yeah, it's like the horror movie, right? Everybody's celebrating, but somebody's like, hey, he's still back there somewhere.
There's a reason there's 8 Friday the 13th movies because you can't kill them.
Right, and there is a level of that as being somebody who's seen it all, done it all. You could say, hey, we can't get too high here. We can't get too low here. Let's stay on our job. All of the cliches, but like everything, as you get older, the cliches start to make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't just sound like background noise anymore whenever a coach is giving that type of instruction or giving a cliche that you've heard thousands of times in your career. You do eventually mess around and find out.
Exactly.
I think last year there was a lot of messing around and finding out, and that's where what I heard from Shane Beamer was that's where the investment level comes from, is learning from a lot of that. Coming up next, though, we continue to talk about camp practice starting today. What are we looking for in position battles? The running back position's up for grabs. The kicker position is up for grabs. There's going to be a lot of intriguing battles in camp to determine starting spots. But what is the separator in those? Shane talked about that yesterday. We'll hear what he had to say next year on the early game.
Columbia, Charleston, Florence, and Myrtle Beach.
We have a new way for you to call the AAA Heating and Air phone lines. Just dial pound 250, and when prompted, punch in the keywords, the game. And that's it. Again, pound 250 with the keywords, the game. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at herndonchevy.com.
Those got really good branding. The University of South Carolina. You know who they like to team up with? School Cuts and Minuteman Press. And if it's good enough for the University of South Carolina, then I think it's good enough for any business, school, university, or nonprofit organization, because for 30 plus years, you look at School Cuts and they've been providing these quality screen printing, embroidery on all types of uniforms, spirit wear, branded apparel. I've gone into the building before and I've seen the hats they make, the pullovers they make, sweatshirts, everything, anything that be printed on apparel, School Cuts has you. And then for Minuteman Press, they do the brochures, they do the booklets, they do the signage, right? Everything that you need to put your logo or any type of branding on anything, School Cuts and Minuteman Press is your one-stop shop for all of it. I even wear a bunch of Minuteman Press and School Cuts shirts that they made for us at 107.5 The Game. And of course, you can visit them today at 1415 Gervais Street in Columbia or 518 Westender Street in West Columbia.
Next night out at Overtime Bar and Grill, Columbia's premier casual sports bar, family pool hall, and neighborhood hangout. Just 2 miles from Williams-Brice Stadium at 1840 Bluff Road, Overtime is the local destination for Gamecock fans and families. Play on 9 professional pool tables or join their official APA and BCA League tournaments. Catch the games on 14 HD TVs or enjoy electronic darts and arcade games. Hungry? Try Overtime Bar and Grill's famous loaded cheese fries, custom burgers, and top-rated signature wings. There's even a kids menu. With a 96% Facebook recommendation rate, you are family here. Order online for easy delivery. Live life in Overtime. Overtime Bar and Grill. Take advantage of this great sweet deal from Overtime Bar and Grill. Beginning Friday morning at 9 a.m., log on to 1075thegame.com and click on Sweet Deals to get a $50 gift certificate to Overtime Bar and Grill for just $25. Powered by Integrated Media, The Game TV, sponsored by Shepherd's Glass for auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia, The Game TV, sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. Shepherd's Glass.
Everyone needs to have at least one person in their corner in life. When you don't, it's an extremely lonely and frightening place to be. But knowing you have that one person gives you peace and hope. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Since 1988, myself and my firm have been in so many corners for so many clients for so many years. We became the largest injury firm in the world for a reason, and it's not even close. We fought like hell for you. We fight the bullies, automobile insurance companies, the makers of unsafe products, medical providers who injured or killed their own patients. It has been such an honor and made my life complete. If you ever need us, it's easy. On your mobile device or computer, visit forthepeople.com, and then we get to work 24/7. Whether you're hurt in a car crash, injured on the job, or have questions about your Social Security, we're here for you. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
Joe Sandifer, Esquire, 11915 Plaza Drive, Suite 301, Murrells Inlet, South Carolina, 29576.
And now, a no-frills ad sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Here it is. You could save big when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive. That's it. See? Just a good old-fashioned, straightforward ad. See if you can save at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE or Progressive.com.
Powered by Integrated Media, The Game TV, sponsored by Shepherd's Glass for auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia, The Game TV, sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. Shepherd's Glass.
I'm Ryan Seacrest. When you call 911 and ask for help, first responders show up. Now, let's show up for the people who show up for us every day and every night.
Go to firstrcf.org to learn more.
It's the Game Network Traffic Report from the Schroeder's Towing Traffic Center. Broken down and need a tow or even free signage for your lot? Dial pound 250 and use keyword tow truck today.
Earlier accidents have been cleared, so good news there. None to report at this time. And we're looking at Some sunshine coming in later today after some of the clouds and fog burn off. 91 will be our high, 92 tomorrow, 94 with mostly sunny skies come Sundays. But right now, 72 on 107.5 The Game.
The Early Game. With former Gamecock Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen. On the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and at the Game TV radio on YouTube.
Are you gonna wait for a sign? Your miracle. Stand up and fight. This is it. Make no mistake where you are.
Now, if you're talking about investment of guys on the roster, for maybe those 12 potential starters that are playing their last year of college, Kenny Loggins is giving you the best advice you could possibly receive, and that is that this is it. Make no mistake where you are. And also Michael McDonald, star player,
consummate winner,
role player,
star player, role player, writer, background singer, lead vocalist. What you need me to utility man. What you need him to do?
It's like a utility man in baseball if that utility man was also winning MVP.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, he's not just a utility guy. He can do it. He's Shohei.
Oh. In a way.
Is he Shohei?
But I don't. That's the weird thing is I don't think anybody will ever, unless later in his career he becomes like a role player, right? If injuries derails anything, knock on wood, injuries derail anything to where it's like, oh well, he doesn't hit very well anymore because of this certain injury here, but he's a really good out of the bullpen. But then becomes one of the best relievers, like more reliable middle relievers in baseball. Wins a World Series as a middle reliever. I think that may be the best equivalent.
Listen, man, he just does it all. Listen, it's no secret. Preston Thorne, huge Michael McDonald fan. So, if any time I have an opportunity to talk about the greatness that is Michael McDonald, I will. Because Patti LaBelle's On My Own and Michael McDonald, I feel like that was the soundtrack to my childhood. I feel like I heard that song so many times. And so many times. Anyway, moving forward, because I'll be here all day talking about Michael McDonald.
Legend. Winner,
for sure.
Early winner on this show. Well, it is practice today. And yes, Allen Iverson, we're not talking about a game. We are indeed talking about practice. But these practices are important. They are very important, especially if you're a running back on this roster, if you're a kicker on this roster, if you're somebody that's trying to play opposite of Dylan Stewart on the defensive line or the separate edge position. You're wanting to get some more playing time. There's a logjam at a few positions. Wide receiver, you can't play 7 wide receivers on the field at the same time, but you got a lot of dudes that are good enough to play. You've got to separate yourself in these type of practices and in this environment. Shane was asked yesterday, how do players that are in these position battles separate themselves and prove themselves to the coaching staff? Here's Shane's response.
Yeah, I think a lot of that was the summer. That obviously we don't broadcast what we did in the summer and whatnot, but I mean, I spent, Luke and his guys did a great job. I spent over 3 hours this morning with the strength staff, just me and the strength coaches, going through every player on the team and talking about the summer. And, we pay a lot of attention to that. How available you are in the summer. Do you have a bunch of bumps and bruises and issues that keep you out of workouts, or are you readily available every workout that we had going back to May? Because that means we can depend on you. Injuries are a part of it. I'm not saying that, but the guys that are able to sustain and do what they need to do in the summertime, that's something that I put a lot of stock in. How guys worked over the summer. I mean, we can talk about a lot of guys that had great summers, but really who really separated themselves, particularly in a position battle. And yeah, coming out of spring practice, there are some battles that we knew there were decisions to make, and they still are, But certainly this summer, there's some guys to me that separated themselves from the pack with the summers they had. So that would be one thing before we even start practice. And then once you get into practice, yeah, I mean, it's easy to say this guy's making a lot of plays, but just, who's that tough, smart, dependable guy that just does things right day in, day out. He doesn't flash one day and then disappear the next. He's just, steady and consistent. And those are the guys that you want to go to battle with.
So you heard it right there. The summer matters a lot, not just in your measurables, in how much more you're lifting, how much more you're able to lift, or how much faster you get, how much more agile you get on certain testing, but availability. Ultimately, availability can be your best ability. But as you pointed out earlier, Preston Thorne, you still got to ball a little bit.
Yeah, I would say even more than a little bit. I would say if it's 100%, I would say the summer counts for maybe 30%. And you need that 30% if you're trying to win a position battle. If all things are being equal, then we'll fall back on that. But once we get to the field, once we start practice, once we start going through drills, once we get to 7-on-7, pads, team, all these things, now you have to perform. And the thing about college football is that all these reps are evaluated. Everything's on film. Everybody's watching it. So the reps that you're taking in team, the reps that you're taking in 7-on-7, individuals, all of that is being calculated into who's going to get the first or second nods into the on the depth charts. But no matter what coaches want to tell you, there are depth charts, there are positions, and everybody is fighting up and down those depth charts. The most interesting things are not necessarily who's going to be the starter, but who's going to be the second guy instead of the third guy. Like you said, you can't play 7 wide receivers.
Nope.
There's about 5 of them that can play. Who's going to get into that rank? How do you get into that? That is the essence of competition during camp.
And when it comes to creating that separation too, how many times do you see maybe like in spring practices, you hear about somebody doing really, really well and they still maybe don't flash once they do get to the fall? And I know in my experiences in covering the NFL, so many guys are preseason darlings, right? Where in training camp, you're hearing, oh, the coaching staff really likes this guy. They really like this guy. They might make the team. You never see them throughout the course of the year because, yeah, they might have shown up more than everybody else. But there might have been a running back in the room that Derrick Henry was in, and Derrick Henry might not have attended OTAs. But guess what happens when you show up to practice? Derrick Henry's running with the ones because that is a Yeti that is carrying a football, and you have to try to tackle that guy.
Coach, I came to every workout and did every rep. Should I start in front of Derrick Henry? Son, move back.
I forgot your name already, all right?
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, hand Derek a water while you're at it.
It's a separator for all the folks who are jumbled at the bottom of the roster. But if there's somebody clearly at the top, I mean, there is no competition for Nick Harbor's spot. I don't care what anybody says. It's his spot to lose. How about that?
Right,
that's
exactly.
That's a better way to put it.
And you have to really lose it at that point.
So that's where you might get the distinction between battles. There are some battles that are people's to lose, and then there are some spots that need to be won. And that's where you could kind of figure out, like the running back position. I think that it's a position that needs to be won. Somebody is going to have to step up and take it. Maybe Matthew Fuller is in the pole position or the starting, but somebody's going to have to take that from everybody else.
Jen, hate to drop this on you here so fast. This is unplanned, but that reminded me of something that Stan Drayton said. This is going to be cut 20. This is Stan Drayton when he was asked about kind of waiting for somebody to step up and take over that RB1 role.
We're just waiting for a guy to just put some hair on his chest and claim it. That's the one thing that I don't think anyone has done at this point. I think we're on schedule as far as our development is concerned, though. So I think these next couple of weeks will be critical for somebody to kind of step up and claim that role. Obviously, we're in the SEC, so every week is going to be a tough go. So as the year goes on, we'll have 3 to 4 ready to go. And again, feeling really excited about the 3 to 4 quality that we can have behind whoever becomes that guy. And we'll just take it from there, yeah.
I love the way you worded it. I'm waiting for somebody to step up and grow some hair on their chest and take the role over.
Kind of like this guy. Kind of like this guy.
Out of all the assistant coaches I've talked to a good amount of the assistant coaches, maybe not as much of the new guys, but yesterday I was like, I really enjoyed talking to Stan Drayton.
Kind of like this guy. Yeah, I mean, he's been around so much football, so many guys that he's coached, so many experiences that he had. There's somebody you would be able to trust their evaluation process because of all the football that he's coached.
Sends a lot of dudes to the National Football League. And speaking of the National Football League, Preston Thorne is still a fan free agent until now, because the decision is next here on the early game.
Wow, what a play. The Game Network. Columbia, Charleston, Florence, and Myrtle Beach. It's 2026 SEC Media Days.
And the game was there all week.
Yeah, I think it's really important. I think if you look across college football specifically, but college athletics, the best teams, in my opinion, year in, year out, are the oldest teams.
On the Game Network, the 107.5 The Game app, and at the Game TV radio on YouTube.
Preston here for our folks at AAA Heating and Air. You know how the summer is going to go. It's going to continue to stay hot through August, probably in September, maybe even the beginning of October. We know how this goes. So you want to make sure that your HVAC system is in peak working condition. And at AAA Heating and Air, your home comfort is their top priority. If you want some peace of mind, call about the AAA Comfort Club, where members enjoy priority scheduling, flexible visits, and exclusive discounts on services. Take your home comfort to the next level. Beat the heat before it hits. Call AAA Heating and Air today at 803-920-3771. That's AAA Heating and Air at 803-920-3771.
Sponsored by American Military University.
Service opens doors for you and your family. At American Military University, military families may qualify for reduced tuition, affordable higher education for military service members and their families. Learn more at amu.apus.edu/military.
Download to see if you qualify. Not all customers will qualify. Transfer fees may apply. No Albert subscription required. Albert is not a bank. Albert Instant Loans are issued by FinWise Bank, member FDIC. Not an actual client. Terms apply.
Kylie, what's wrong?
I just got hit with a car repair bill. I'm behind on rent, and I feel like I can never save any money.
Have you tried the Albert app? Albert is your financial assistant, helping you find ways to save and create custom budgets to actually grow your money. Plus, you can get up to $10,000 for big expenses, or advance up to $1,000 fast when you need cash right away.
Albert can get me up to $10,000?
Exactly. Albert spots you in a pinch and helps you grow your money in the long run.
I'm downloading Albert right now.
Download the Albert app and use promo code GAIN to borrow up to $10,000 for whatever you need. The Albert app helps you budget better and save more money, so you reach your financial goals faster. Download the Albert app right now and use promo code GAIN to borrow up to $10,000. Use code GAIN to borrow up to $10,000.
The Gant family with Pioneer Tree Service have been taking care of trees in Columbia and surrounding areas for over 48 years. Pioneer Tree Service provides tree and shrub removal, pruning and thinning, tree planting, cabling and bracing, raising tree canopies, stump grinding and removal, storm damage services, property cleaning and grading, right-of-way maintenance, and more. They also provide 24-hour emergency tree removal. They can also handle the removal of diseased and dead trees before an emergency happens. Call them today for a free estimate. 803-794-8253. The Gant family and their team at Pioneer Tree Service can be trusted to provide professional and quality tree services with affordable pricing for residential or commercial jobs. Ashton Smith called Pioneer Tree Service and said they came when she was leaving for work, and when she got home, the tree was gone as if it was never there. She was so impressed with Pioneer Tree Service and will definitely use them again. Here's one of the Gant girls, Madison Gant.
Call us today for a free estimate at 803-794-8253. Or check us out online at pioneertreesc.com.
Learning to drive, getting married, the birth of your children. These are the life-changing events you remember your whole life. I'm Jason Reynolds. A serious injury changes your life too, in a very different way.
I'm Stephen Samuels. At the Samuels Reynolds Law Firm, we get you. We can't erase the injury or change the past, but we can get you through the pain and anxiety and help you on to a brighter future.
We get South Carolina because we're true South Carolina. Samuels Reynolds. True injuries, true lawyers. 803-779-4000.
Want to unlock the power of athlete marketing to grow your business? Garnet Trust has recently launched a business membership program, making it easier than ever for your business to work directly with a USC student athlete. Visit garnettrust.com today or call 803-250-1765 to see your business move.
Hate paying for streaming? Well, the 107.5 The Game app is free. Yes, free. Just download the 107.5 The Game app. It's the Game Network Traffic Report from the Schroeder's Towing Traffic Center. Broken down and need a tow or even free signage for your lot? Dial pound 250 and use keyword tow truck today.
Road at North Grampian Hills Road. We do have a report of an accident there, and that forecast not looking too bad. Most of the rain kind of out of here. Could see a pop-up shower or thunderstorm this weekend, but overall today we'll see sunshine later, 91 for the high. Mix of clouds and sun tomorrow, 92 and 94 with sunshine on your Sunday. A little bit of fog remaining, 72 currently.
Former Gamecock Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen on the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and at the Game TV radio on YouTube.
The answer to the question everybody wants to know. LeBron, what's your decision?
In this fall, man, this is very tough. In this fall, I'm going to take my talents to South Beach and join the Miami Heat.
Miami Heat.
The Miami Heat. That was LeBron's decision.
I haven't heard that clip in a long time. He did not sound convinced or confident in that decision.
He didn't look it either.
He knew what was about to happen. He knew the backlash he was about to face.
He did not sound convinced or confident in that decision. And I guess he's like, I know this is going to be a bad space that I'm about to jump in. I forget how young he was when he was making that decision. Was he 20?
He was like 23 or
23 years old. You can hear the tremor in his voice. He's like,
Who's going to sound more confident in their decision, LeBron James or Preston Thorne?
Well, LeBron James was making a life-change decision. I'm making a one-year deal, so
this is a one-year deal.
I'm under the impression that I can suffer through anything for 1 year. I just did it.
You did, because you did choose the Falcons last season.
That's true. That being said, can we get the totals, please?
All right. Here's the recap. And to review what happened, here's the process. We would take different criteria, right, ranging from the amount of times teams run 12 personnel, offensive or defensive-minded coaches, bell cow backs, how many times they run the ball, how well they run the ball, all types of things that would matter to somebody picking a favorite team. And I tiered them in 8 different groups of 4. And then based on the scale of Preston's care scale of that category, whatever teams fell in that category received a match, right? They matched with Preston in those categories. We tally up all the matches and try to give the perfect football team for 2026 for Preston. Now to recap the counts so far. Only one team has matched with Preston 6 times. That was the Seattle Seahawks. We have a couple of teams that matched with him 5 times. That would be the New England Patriots and the Los Angeles Rams. In terms of teams that have matched with him 4 times, that would be the Denver Broncos, the Washington Commanders, and the New York Jets. And then with teams that matched him 3 times, we have the Bills, the Ravens, the Chargers, the Eagles, Chiefs, Bears, Raiders, Browns, Packers. And the Panthers also matched 3 times, and the Falcons. A bunch of other teams with 2, a few teams sprinkled in with just 1. When you were thinking about this last night, before your head hit the pillow and you finally went to sleep, or if you went to sleep at all because this is such a big decision, what were the deciding factors here when you really thought about it? What did you value the most of all of this? Because I think we've covered almost everything you can cover when it comes to trying to find this team.
The thing that I really have taken into account was the social media hang.
Okay.
Because I'm not going to go to a game, but you know how the algorithms work. Once you start clicking on things and you start getting more and more and more of that stuff. And as I told our guy Tyler over here, the Falcons fans rise up. That was fun, man. I had a great time, even though the team was terrible.
Roller coaster
of a squad, but it was a fun team, man. There was the fans, the commentary. It was all great. And so that is probably my biggest deciding factor of, like, what are we going to be doing as a social media fan when I start clicking on these articles and learning more information about these rosters.
Now, on the text line, we do have some last-second lobbying efforts. Ace, who has been lobbying you to join #KeepPounding Nation the entire time, I mean, every day for the last couple of weeks, he's been on this. He says, Preston, before you pick, Carolina's last-second victory last night should be an omen. Let's go. #KeepPounding, #local pride. Does that help?
I think it does.
You think so a little bit? That maybe that boosts it a little bit? Jeff says on the text line, you guys picking Preston's NFL fandom feels like his own personal wheel of punishment. If you pick the Jets, then yeah, absolutely. If the Jets were picked today again, that would have been like the 5th match with the New York Jets. That is a wheel of punishment type deal.
If the Jets would have been the outright winner of this competition, I would have picked the Jets. That being said, they were not, so I was able to slide out of that punishment. I'm ready, man.
All right.
I'm ready.
All the lobbying has been done. We do have one prediction here on the text line.
I'm ready. I will say this. I did not wake up this morning with this decision in mind. But don't ever think that last-minute lobbying can't work, because keep pounding.
Oh, he stays in the NFC South.
Keep pounding.
Wow.
Keep pounding.
Wow, Preston Thorne.
Keep pounding. I did not think I was going to make that decision this morning. That's not what I thought I was going to do. That last second convincing by who?
That was Ace.
Ace, my guy or gal, whoever you are out there. You did it. I'm in it. Hayes King.
Was it Haynes King last night?
It was Hayes King. The Hall of Fame game. They're local. I get to follow them. They're fun. Xavier XL's got to get healthy. They got a Gamecock. JC. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it.
I'm glad you made yourself sound really convinced. You did sound more convinced there than LeBron James did.
I feel great.
Anyway, we're gonna do it anyway.
Let's go.
We're gonna do it anyway. We're gonna do it anyway.
The Carolina Panthers. So the second straight year, Preston Thorne chooses to cheer for a team in the NFC South, which I can tell you, and Tyler can tell you too, can be frustrating, can be fun. 9 wins can get you into hosting a playoff game.
Very winnable.
It is incredibly winnable.
Very losable.
You know how we said the last year the Big 12 was the league where everybody's pretty good. The NFC South is a league where everybody is pretty buns.
It's like,
equally. But that's what makes it fun, because you get to play those other teams twice a year.
I have to learn how to pronounce Tet's name completely. How do you pronounce his full name?
Tetaroa McMillan.
Tetaroa, my guy. I'm in, man. I'm in.
There's a lot of fun there. Now, I will say, I do think the Panthers win that division. And mostly because of the offseason they had. And really not a ton about like the draft picks. I think they're going to win the division because they signed who I think is maybe the most valuable 3-level defender in football in Devin Lloyd. The Jags were awesome last year because Trevor Lawrence had a lot to do with that. That offense had a lot to do with that. But that defense isn't one of the better ones in the NFL if they don't have Devin Lloyd. I think the Jags are going to learn a lot about themselves and about how closer to the middle of the league they are than how easily they won that division last year. Because losing Devin Lloyd's going to hurt a lot more than I think people think.
I'm looking forward to diving into Panthers social media here. This is going to be this is where I'll be hanging.
And you can easily drive up and go to games.
I can, and I said that I probably won't go to a game, but now I might actually be able to catch one.
Well, if you go to the Saints game this year, you'll see me there.
There you go.
Make the trip.
Might have to do something, or there might be something on the line there.
There very well could.
Okay.
There very well could. That is exciting. So it's official. Preston Thorne is a Carolina Panther fan
Keep
for 2026.
Pounding. Keep pounding.
Will Bryce Young pass the Derek Carr test after this year?
I don't care.
Because you're here for 1 year.
I'm here for 1 year, 1 year old.
Well, you might, because if he doesn't pass the test, then that means
it's a bad year.
It could be a bad year.
Okay.
It very well could. One text on the text line says, "Welcome home, Preston. Go Cox and keep pounding." One text says, "Let's go, Preston. You won't regret it. We actually have a really good team."
Welcome to my newfound family. Thank you. Thank you. Also, I wanted acceptance. I felt like if I picked a team that was way on the West Coast, it's just me by myself. I wanted fandom. I want the
community.
I want the community of it. I'm here for it, man. I feel unburdened now. I feel good.
Just out of curiosity, when you woke up this morning, who was it going to be?
The Rams.
I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. Joe thought you were going with Seattle.
It was up very high on the list.
6 matches. That is really high.
Very high on the list.
But you heard it here first. Preston Thorne, Panther fan for 2026.
Yes.
He's hoping the Panthers are winners. We'll give you our winners for today's show coming up next.
Wow, what a play. The Game Network. Columbia, Charleston, Florence, and Myrtle Beach.
Hey, this is Tyler Head from 107.5 Game and the Game Network. If you run a diner, bakery, coffee shop, burger joint, pizza spot, or that hidden gem everybody should know about, how would you like to get the word out about your business without spending a dime? Well, we got you. All you have to do is text your name, your business, and your phone number to 803-404-6100, and we'll be in touch. There is no catch. Times are tough, and we're here just trying to help you get folks in the door of your business.
This is a Westwood One Sports Minute.
Sponsored by AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. 4-time Pro Bowl wide receiver Stephon Diggs signed a 1-year contract worth up to $12 million with the Washington Commanders. The Maryland native returns home following a 1,000-yard season with the New England Patriots, providing quarterback Jaden Daniels a premier veteran target alongside star receiver Terry McLaurin. I'm Maddie Bates.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. John's day is off to a slow start. So he heads to AutoZone, where he can get a battery for under $100. Lonnie, a local AutoZoner, tests his battery for free. Looks like he just needs a charge. And Lonnie does that for free too. In no time at all, John is back on the road. Ready to finish the day strong. Free battery testing and charging at every store. No hassles, just help. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply.
Hey, this is Lauren. And a little thing I love about the hash brown scrambled burrito is that it's going to add the protein that you need. The eggs with those crispy nuggets. It's the ultimate combo.
Hi, this is Maya, and a little thing I love about the hash brown scrambled burrito is that it's packed with protein. Having Chick-fil-A chicken in a breakfast burrito is just phenomenal to me. You have the chicken, you have the eggs, and then you add these hash browns. It's just complete, honestly.
Order the Chick-fil-A hash brown scrambled burrito and Simply Orange Juice on the Chick-fil-A app today. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
A better life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
So-called superagers. They are an enviable segment of the population. People who are older than 80, whose brains function like someone a fraction of their age. It's true, a lot of these people have genetics on their side, but more and more research is bearing out the idea that people who practice good brain health also slow their cognitive decline. Dr. Richard Isaacson, a pioneer in the Alzheimer's space, told us that, quote, his studies have found lifestyle changes including diet, exercise, reducing stress and optimizing sleep, along with managing vascular risk factors with certain medications, can actually help grow brain areas and also reduce telltale signs of Alzheimer's, such as tau tangles and amyloid plaques. What else helps? Staying social, surrounding yourself with family and friends, and maybe even volunteering for a real sense of purpose. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
It's game day. Are your moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keeping you from the action? Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, could help you get back to the game. Skyrizi is proven to help people feel significant symptom relief, achieve remission, and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. Skyrizi is a prescription injection medicine for adults. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's or ulcerative colitis.
Control is everything to me.
Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's and ulcerative colitis combined. Learn more at skyrizi.com or 1-866-SKYRIZI.
The Early Game. With former Gamecocks Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen. On the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and the Game TV radio.
And every day we give you our Winners of the Day show, brought to you by the Golden Spur, and I can't think of a better winner than an NFL team that picked up a new fan. On the heels of a thrilling Hall of Fame game victory, a sentence that I'm not even saying sarcastically, that actually was a really fun game. Because Haynes King, also winner, but the Carolina Panthers not just won the Hall of Fame game last night, they won a fan in Preston Thorne, who is hopping on the bandwagon. And what I really want to see is Preston Thorne as the one who is brought to Carolina to bang the drum, the big keep pounding drum. Yeah, Steph Curry's a fan. You've brought Steph Curry before. Yeah, Cam Newton's done it before. Yeah, Luke Kuechly, who just got inducted into the Hall of Fame, could be a guy that you could do it. But why not introduce your newest fan as somebody who can bang the drum over at the stadium?
You know what? Now that you say that, maybe subliminally it was. I did watch a barrage of Luke Kuechly highlights yesterday. Ooh. That might be still ringing around my brain as like, oh man, that guy was really fun. He was awesome. That could possibly have played into the decision making, just subconsciously.
You know, it's more fun than watching Luke Kuechly highlights. Watching the montages of him being mic'd up. Okay. Because him calling out defenses or calling out offenses and recognizing plays. They did a whole montage of it last night whenever they were interviewing him. And it's like in between plays, they showed like a 30-second clip of the mic'd up where he's, calling out stuff and like, watch the run to the left, watch the run to the left. And it happens every single time. Dude was the ultimate linebacker brainiac. He was awesome.
Luke Kuechly, sneaky athletic. Nobody gives him credit for being fast and strong. They say he's just smart. Not true.
No.
He's very fast.
Would the Panthers rank high on teams with sneaky athleticism in their history between Luke Kuechly, Hunter Renfrow, Haynes King? Those are the three at the top of my head. Adam Thielen was on the team at one point in time. Sneaky athletic.
Greg Olsen,
sneaky athletic.
Baller. Very fun squads. Are we missing Mr. King, sneaky athletic? The running back? Christian McCaffrey?
Oh my God. I forgot he was a Panther for a while.
Forget that part of his career.
They drafted him.
Yeah, man.
Helped develop him.
Maybe, yeah.
Oh, yeah, the sneakiest sneaky athletic.
Luke Kuechly was awesome, man. And I've already breached this step in my life. But how is it starting to feel to you when you start seeing dudes who you watch their whole career be inducted into the Hall of Fame?
It makes the gray hairs in my temples stand out a little bit longer, a little bit more. I start noticing them.
It's a tough feeling, right?
Like Drew Brees, every Sunday of my NFL fandom for 15 years was spent watching Drew Brees be the quarterback for my favorite team. And I saw him last night in the booth during the Hall of Fame game because he was getting inducted. I was like, dang, this is awesome. But also, where did the time go, brother? Where did it go? Where did all this go? Larry Fitzgerald, one of my earliest football memories. The first time I think I ever really got mad about a decision in football wasn't a coaching decision. It was me being almost blackout furious at 8 years old because Jason White won the Heisman over Larry Fitzgerald. Okay. Because I loved Larry Fitzgerald that much.
Even from college. Wow.
Even from college. I was a Larry Fitzgerald guy.
So this is, again, to the point where there are dudes going in the Hall of Fame who 5 years after their career, they've already played a whole career, and you remember them playing in college. That window, the next threshold you're going to cross is when you be like, oh, I'm older than the dudes going in the Hall of Fame. Oh, that's a scary one.
Oh, buddy.
That's a scary one.
I'm only like a decade from that, maybe.
It happens, but it happens quicker than you think. It happens quicker than you think. You're like, what? Who?
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
The Hall of Fame is for old guys.
Oh, there's already NBA dudes. I remember, because a lot of NBA players are drafted at 18 or 19 years old. So I remember my high school class, like when Andrew Wiggins, Jabari Parker, Nikola Jokic in that draft class too. Pretty good. Yeah, ended up being the best one. All those guys were my age. Almost every single one that was picked was my age. We all graduated high school like the same year. They were my high school contemporaries. Some of them have retired. Mm-hmm. There's some guys in that draft class that are not playing.
And then you get to the point where it's like, oh, it's not like they had like they had like a full NBA career and then retired. Because it was over.
I realized I'm getting closer to that point whenever, this is like last year, I realized I would have been the oldest player on the Memphis Grizzlies by like 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah, that's real.
It's starting to get more real.
That's real.
Seeing Larry Fitzgerald and Drew Brees get inducted last night, and Luke Kuechly too, it had me going, oh my
really God. Solid class though. Luke Kuechly, Adam
Vinatieri was too. Yep.
Larry Fitzgerald, and then on the Veterans Committee, Roger Craig. And he's somebody who's from my very early football years, but the style of running, the way he was utilized, he would have been a dude in today's game.
Ahead of his time.
For sure.
Also would have been an incredible fantasy football cheat code if you had Roger Craig.
That's how they used them, as a cheat code.
How it took this long.
You mean we could actually throw to the running backs?
Who does this?
Crazy.
Roger Craig, ultimate winner. Should not have taken this long to get that guy into the Hall of Fame. Those are our winners of today's show, brought to you by the Golden Spur. Tyler Head, Jack Feltry, the Extra Point. They're winners. They're next.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at herndonchevy.com.
If there was a Hall of Fame for helping people get out of that IRS maze, John Ecton and his team at the Ecton Law Firm, first ballot Hall of Famer. That team full of first ballot Hall of Famers. Why? Because it's pretty easy to set up a free consultation. All you gotta do is call 803-771-9800, set up that free consultation, and then you'll dig into a little bit more of the resume, right? The Hall of Fame resume, like having proven local solutions over the course of decades that they have crafted to get people out of unique tax issues, right? Whether they're personal income tax issues or business tax issues, the Ecton Law Firms have been getting people out of it for a long time. They have been experts in getting you one step closer to a worry-free life. So don't wait. Set up that free consultation at 803-771-9800, or you can visit them at ectonlawfirm.com. That's ECTON lawfirm.com.